You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Well, there's the Jags GM search, and I made this last night at like 6:30, 6:20, something like that. And as I was getting out of there and Stuart was doing the shows, I was like, oh, take the Tampa dude off and put the San Francisco guy on. And those have we seen any other names? Am I missing any?
Nope, you got them all.
Is that it?
Now that Greenberg's gone.
That's pretty wild if you look at it right there. That is a little bit less than a quarter of the league, right? That you're tapping into if you include the Jags on that list. So 7 out of the 32, if my math's right. But we'll see where the Jaguars land. And the stuff out of Tampa is fascinating. I mean, why don't we just start there today? Because listen, there's not a lot of news rocking and rolling. There has been for like the last month, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 6 months. I mean, it's been a wild time. It's a little quiet on this part of the search. It gets that way a little bit, even after the kind of hysteria and excitement and everything of last week with Liam Cohen. It then like hit like a stopping point, and then it was a turn to, okay, now you're trying to identify your staff, a little bit of a lull, the rest of it. Well, then the staff is just about complete. It looks like, at least reportedly. I think when I say just about complete, I'm not talking about assistant offensive line coaches and assistant D-line coaches. We're going to get into all that. We'll get a press release at some point in the next week, I would assume, where it has everybody. We're still waiting on the OC. And that one has not, it's been rumored and reported that it could be Shieldhouse, but it hasn't been locked in. Now, do I give some credence to those reports? I think I would, because now I'm going off the Spencer Whipple comment that basically last Monday he knew Spencer Whipple, it seems like, was going to be his QB coach, or at least part of his staff in some capacity. And here he is. So that part of it, we'll see how it comes together as they'll only announce the OC is what I'm understanding, and then everything else will come out in full press releases, I continue to tell you. So that shifts to the GM search. Well, the GM search is kind of underway, but I don't think it's really underway. It's underway in the respect of they've asked for permission to speak to a bunch of guys. It's actually a lot more far-reaching than I thought it would be, because even a couple of weeks ago when Trent Baalke got fired, you had you basically had everybody saying Ian Cunningham was going to be the guy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it was like Cunningham. And then I think Greenberg did enter the fray a little bit, the guy from Tampa we'll talk about in a moment. And then all these other names start to surface, and more names, even late yesterday, about requests. So like you thought, okay, now they got their 5 guys or something, and then Ethan Waugh in there. Nope. Who's Josh Williams out of San Francisco, right? Who's Gladstone out of L.A.? And, boy, all of a sudden, everybody saw James Gladstone. They're like, whoa, go get that guy.
They said, see ya, Ian Cunningham.
But you guys are it's really funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I love you. But how the hell do you know? Like, how do you know? Like, I must have asked this question like a million times already. And I know we talked about it a lot yesterday. I promise we won't do that again today. Like, I actually think the GM topic's a little bit boring because I don't know. How do you know? How do you get this excited about this guy? Buddy, my man Buddy, he's give me the young kid from L.A. Like, why are people all over this guy? Because he's the Rams?
Yeah. Just because they're the best drafting team in the last couple of years.
Now, listen, if you read up on him, supposed to be super bright guy, ahead of the curve, kind of a different way to scout things, all this stuff, right? I'm cool with it. But I can't imagine how you can get so excited about how do you know this guy. And the craziest thing is, let's just say they landed with the Rams guy. I looked up for like 10 minutes yesterday, then I gave up. I couldn't find his age. You guys are way better at this than me. I can't. He looks like he's 24.
Yeah.
I think he's been in the league 8 years. I think this was his first gig was in the Rams, so he probably has like a. Is he an Ivy League school guy?
He graduated from Westminster College in 2013, which means that he's probably 33.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's young. He's very young. Who's the one that's a Columbia guy? Is he a Columbia guy? No, you said Westminster. Is Westminster a college?
Yeah.
I thought there was somebody on their list that was a Columbia guy.
have to go through each of them.
Maybe it might have been actually Greenberg.
Yeah.
It might have been Greenberg. So whatever. I don't know, but what is this? How amazing would this be? I mean, every day we come in here and we say, "Hey, that's a little young. I don't mind the experience. That's a little young. I mean, inexperienced, but is that okay? Are we going to come back and talk about that?" And then all they do is keep getting younger.
Greenberg was Cornell.
Oh, it was Cornell. It's one of them. I think that was Columbia. But how wild would it be if they go hire like a 33-year-old GM? And the crazy part about that, like, was this part of the mission in the presentation of Liam Cohen when he got in here? It's like, hey, one of the things you guys have is you got this old, stale, like, way of thinking in the NFL. Was that one of the messages that Shad got about this football team? You got 60-year-old Baalke, which is also, by the way, pretty ironic, because when we did the Baalke thing a couple months ago, we said, wow, we landed on he was the oldest GM in the league by a lot. I think the next guy was like 52, like DaCosta or something like that we landed on. I don't know if we went through all of them, but you get the idea. And then I wonder if some of the feedback that they got in this interview process or in the vetting process here to look for a replacement for Doug Pederson and now the replacement for Trent Baalke was, man, you guys got to get with the times, you know? And you got to be on the cutting edge of this thing. I said that a lot about Shad. It always felt like he was a little bit of a step behind in this process. Like, the league's going here. Okay, we're going to go chase that. No, how do you get ahead of that? How do you get on the cutting edge side of that? It feels that way with Liam Cohen. I think the Rams thing doesn't feel stale. You're getting a lot of guys that are going out doing their own things, taking some of that experience and then revamping it their way. And it feels like, hey, you just might have unearthed something in Liam Cohen. And maybe he's unearthing other guys on his staff that, quite frankly, you got to look up at Wikipedia and other places to know where they came from. And then if you got a GM that's really young, now you're going to get a GM most likely that's pretty young anyway.
Right.
That's probably in the early 40s, maybe mid 40s, maybe it's late 30s. But this feels even potentially at 33 years old, where all the fans all of a sudden are all over this guy. They love the idea of this. You get a 33-year-old GM. Because let's be honest, if you're in your 40s, that's a pretty common age now for a GM of a football team. But I go back to this one quote from Shad Khan that I always bring up about Dave Caldwell. He was in his formative years. That's when he brought Coughlin in. And that was in 2017. So, well, here we are. Who cares about that quote? Do you like this Gladstone guy? I mean, did you do any work on him?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's touted as the guy who was primarily he was the main voice behind wanting to pair Fisk and Verse.
Yeah,
right. And you've probably seen that video going around.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool video.
Yeah, but everybody kind of says that he's the draft guy. It's crazy. According to the Rams website, he was like out of high school right before going to the Rams. Like, he graduated from college, then he was education administration as the student activities director and football coach at Clayton High School in St. Louis, Missouri.
And I think I saw somebody say, I don't know who it was on Twitter. Again, I'm not even sure how valid all these things are, but they were like, I met this dude back at that point when he was with that high school stuff, and you knew like he was destined for something. Like he was different. And just like the first time you meet him, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I mean, that's cool, by the way. There are some people that you just know that.
Right. But it's like Matt Miller, who's the draft guy, is like, this would absolutely change the entire Jags philosophy on how they do the draft.
Yeah, and I don't know if I fully understand that. Like, what does that mean?
Right. But you think about the Rams defense now, and it's not just Verse and Fisk, and he would deserve credit for that alone. But you think about the other guys, Kobe Turner. I mean, they have guys all over the defense that are young, and they've remade it again without Aaron Donald. Like, you can't almost forget that. That's the centerpiece of your defense for the last decade. You lose them, and stat by stat, your defense got better year over year. And He's the guy who's credited with a lot of that, especially on the defense. They also got, obviously, Puka Nacua. How much was he involved with that? I have no idea.
Remember, that was a big one. If you know the Puka Nacua one, that was a heavy hand, it seemed like, in Sean McVay, at least from the videos.
Right.
I caution people, and Delphonic says, I like the video of him talking to the scouts. Right. I get it. That's what we've got. But those are minute clips now. It's a long day in the office, okay? Yeah. So, I caution people just to get carried away with clips.
This is 12 hours a day for the whole year.
Yeah. But McVay is the one he's the guy that was the heavy, it seemed like, come on, man, let's go get this guy. We'll make him work. Who cares about the speed? Blah, 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 all that stuff.
Right.
So that's what you really like about what the Rams operation is. It looks very collaborative, at least on video. The things that we've seen, the things that they do show us. So, and they were able to, they did something totally different where they sold all their draft picks. Who the hell does that? They did. They acquired, they won a Super Bowl. They dumped a lot of them, and they replenished. And it was like, wow, because we thought, how are you going to do that? Okay, you're selling your soul for now. Does it work? Is it going to work? Oh, it did work. All right, good for you guys. Now you're going to stink for the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. They don't. So I see why people like it, right? I see why people want the Eagles guys and want the Rams guys, and I can't hate on it. I get it, but is that it? Delphonic, I'm not stealing your joy, man. You're good. You guys might be right on. I can fall right in line with you guys. I just can't sit here and tell you that I'm over the moon about any of the GMs. I do feel like people really pivoted quick once they saw Gladstone, though. Wow, okay. Never even heard of the dude in my life. And then all of a sudden it was,
Ian Cunningham doesn't exist.
Send the jet. That was wild. It's just a wild thing to watch. And I appreciate y'all for knowing that so much about the GM guys, I guess. Out of the box, Bucky Brooks, new GM, maybe. Listen, Bucky's a good dude. Bucky can probably do it. I don't know. I have no idea. Can Bucky do it? Why does Louis Riddick get all these interviews but doesn't get a job?
Yeah, man. He's the Eric Bieniemy of GMs.
He feels like it.
He is straight up
Is he not going to get it, though, because of the Mike Mayock thing? Because
that?
They took him out of the booth?
Oh.
You know what I mean? They basically took Mayock out of the booth and put him in. Now, Riddick has experience, if I'm not mistaken, prior to going to the booth. But there's something, the interviews are a lot of them.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. You used to get the Rick Smiths, I think it was, and the Riddicks, and you still do get the Riddicks. And maybe you would get, maybe you get Tannenbaum, or you get the old Minnesota guy that was now working for the 33rd team, Spielman, right? You get all these guys. What I really do like is that we're learning different guys' names. Mm-hmm. They're going deep down into those these offices and going to get the guy this LA guy that's well, where did this guy come from? So I think it's refreshing. I like the names. I think it's kind of interesting. And what we said yesterday is the Jags don't have a lot of competition. Well, they really don't have competition right now. They get whoever they want. They can take their time. They can fully vet this. They've really just got a couple weeks where they want to have it done by later this month. I would suspect they really want to have it done by Valentine's Day, next Friday, a week from today, or at least close to being done. So then they can get in the building, formulate a plan, go start attacking the combine, the offseason. These things start coming at you fast now, the later you get going. So it'll be fun to watch. YB Forder said what's really hard about picking good players and paying them, that's what it seems to me as a GM. I think there's so many intangibles like we talked about yesterday. You got to find the talent. There are a lot of good talent evaluators. You got to have the guts and the kahunas to pick the guy either early or wait for him to land to you. You've got to go after free agency. You got to find the right guys to pay that aren't going to just sit there and take the check, because that's a natural human instinct. You got to find the guys not to overpay. You got to find the guys that people let go, like Cooper Kupp, and say, all right, great name. Mm-hmm. Does he still have the game? You've got to be able to determine that. You've got to say, hey, do we really want Christian Kirk around? Do we want Evan Ingram around? Can we rework these guys? Whatever else. And then you got to be able to trade and maneuver, and then all the cap stuff and everything else that comes into play. So it's a heavy job, and I will tell you this, and I'll continue to repeat this, because I think people miss this a little bit in the Tony Baselli stuff. When the Tony Baselli stuff comes about, Liam Cohen's building, Baselli's part of it, part of the building too, really not just the offices. He's part of the building. And when he is, what he does is he removes a lot of that stuff off the plate all onto the GM and the head coach. He can at least assist now in all these different areas when those guys get overwhelmed or want to focus on something else. And that will take some figuring out. But I do think this potentially first-time GM, which looks like everybody there asking is going to be a first-time GM, will have a cleaner plate, if you will, to be able to focus on all the things that go into it. There's still a lot that goes into it. It's kind of crazy that the GM is in charge of a lot of other things on top of what they do anyway.
Right.
But I think Trent was. Just a lot of the way the building operates, right? And a lot of these other things to get in line. And during the course of the year, once the season starts, I guess you can do a lot of that because you're not drafting. And you might make a trade here or there. You might be working on a contract here or there, but there's a little downtime during the season other than evaluation stuff. But they're going to really divvy this up responsibility-wise. All right, so then the other news is the GM from candidate from Tampa pulls out.
Yeah.
I mean, this Tampa Jag stuff is nuts. You got the tweets?
Oh, you want me to pull them up?
Oh, yeah. If you get a chance, the ones I sent you.
Yeah.
You can just send the 2 pictures that I sent you, I think kind of lay it all out. Who the hell is the Yoda guy or whatever? He's like, this cycle's Pretty Ricky for the Jags.
Yep.
I almost wonder if it's Pretty Ricky and changed his name. Which is actually like, if you know that now, like, is it a thing? Is it a thing that if you're somewhere that in the know, do you create like a handle, jump on social media, and then each cycle you can be a different guy? It would be kind of fun if you knew. And who knows? Again, I have no idea who this is. Maybe other people do, and it's come out. I don't pay attention fully on that. I haven't been vetting this. But there have been some things where they've been, this person on Twitter has been almost right, sometimes all the time right, okay, not really, like throwing a lot of stuff against the wall that some of it is stuck and some hasn't stuck, if we were really keeping score. But the fascinating part is he threw out like something on Greenberg yesterday and got a response from most of Tampa, including the GM. What are we doing? Tampa's like that ump has rabbit ears, man. That's what they are right now.
The first one.
All right, so Yardline Yoda. No idea who they are. Bucs GM Jason Licht told assistant GM Mike Greenberg that he's better to be sure that the Jaguars are hiring, that he better be sure that the Jaguars are hiring for their GM spot, insinuating he wouldn't be welcomed back if he took the interview and didn't get the job. More bad practice by the Bucs.
178,000 views.
Is that what it has?
Yeah.
Oh, 178,000 views. This dude's killing it in the cycle. Bucs have now sent their GM, old QB, and biggest reporter to deny my claims. So I don't know if you have the other one or not.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jenna Lane, who she's great. She covers the Bucs for ESPN, says not at all true. And then if you have the other one, Ryan Fitzpatrick, because I was thinking when he said this, I was like, who's the old quarterback? I didn't see it in real time, so I had to look back. It was Ryan Fitzpatrick that kind of jumped in on it. And then Licht himself just had crying emojis. The GM responded, like, that's his account, right?
Yes.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I mean, this dude has a good franchise, too. Like, he's done a great job. But what the hell is he doing on social media? Like, responding to this. They must really feel like they're a little bit against it right now.
Like, imagine if Baalke got on Twitter and just hit the crying emoji.
Well, many people did think he was on Twitter in a lot of different ways, but it wasn't under his name. But I mean, Austin in the past has criticized players like Kirk and Trevor for coming out and saying stuff. The GM is responding.
It gives it more credence.
It really does. Like, it kind of does. What is he doing? Why are we doing this? What is wrong with the Bucs right now? Are they concerned with their?
They do have
PR
rabbit
hit?
ears.
They got rabbit ears, man, big time. I don't get what the Bucs are doing.
It's like, I mean, everybody here is starting to know who this guy is, but he's got 3,000 followers, and the Bucs GM's coming out because a guy with 3,000 followers is throwing a little something at him. It's awesome.
I mean, that was wild. I couldn't believe that when I saw that. I thought it was a fake.
Brent, so a year ago, let's just say, hey Brent, in a year, the Bucs, the general manager of the Buccaneers, is going to be so upset and have that big of rabbit ears that he's going to at a dude who has Yoda in a Jags beanie and jersey as his profile picture because he said that there was some foul play and some pettiness on the GM's behalf.
I don't.
What a world.
What a world.
What a world.
By the way, like the what do they call these? AVIs or whatever. Like, it's a good one. It's cool. But why is he wearing Antonio Johnson?
Yeah, it's a weird jersey to get. Maybe he knows him.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe 26 favorite number. There's something to that. But anyway, the Bucs. I don't get you, Bucs. Like, what are we doing? Like, we don't even care about the Bucs in Jacksonville until like 3 weeks ago. They have a good organization. They've got good stuff going on. Yeah, Robert, I know somebody sent it to like, and he just shows up and starts laughing emoji. I mean, that's for me to do, but I'm not the GM. Like, I love doing that to folks that poke a little fun. But I couldn't believe that he did it. And then, I mean, I don't mind Jenna Lane doing it because she's like, yeah, this isn't true.
Yeah.
If she went and confirmed, right. Like, that's fine. That's part of reporting. But the Fitz one was weird. It's not, I mean, you might as well have Brady do it.
Seriously.
Let's go get Tom Brady to do it. Man, that's just wild. I thought that was hilarious.
It's fun. It was funny to see that reporter come in because it's like, it seems like it's, from my perspective at least, Rick Stroud has been like the sole defender of the team.
Yeah.
I think he was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he was the only guy from Tampa to come up for Liam Cohen's.
He was. Yeah.
So credit to that. But he has been like the defender of their front office. And finally somebody else came in and was like, no.
Yeah, it was almost like Stroud, who, by the way, does a good job, and he's done a good job. And I know not everybody's pleased with everything he said about whether it's Jacksonville or other things, but he made the effort to come over here. Does a good job.
AVI.
AV. Avi?
Avatar.
Avi? Are you giving me the right pronunciation? Because that's AV. Or is it AV? No, A would be AH. That's AV.
But no, if it was AV, there would be a line over the top. Anyways.
But anyway, hey, back to Stroud. I almost feel like Stroud didn't come out and say anything because, like, I'm not defending your ass on this. Like, the guy's got 3,000 followers. Why the hell would I be jumping in on this thing? It's not my job to defend the organization here. Just take the bullet. They'll find, like, I don't even know what Hamby said now. Which one is it? He said you were right. What'd you say? How about if I just say Avatar?
How about it?
Because that seems a little easier. You know, between GIF and GIF and AVI and Avatar and...
Brent, don't do this. Don't do this.
What is it? GIF or GIF?
I don't care. I don't want to be seen as 80 years old. You just... This... You're dating yourself bad here.
Listen, I'm on Twitter all the time. I should know these things. But there's no common language of this stuff. I don't think anybody's really come out ever and said, is it GIF or GIF? Why don't we know this? What do we go with? GIF?
Nope. I'm not having a conversation.
It's not awe. It's the A sound from cat and apple.
Abby.
Abby. Hey, Abby. Somebody named their kid that.
Oh, God.
It's a good kid name.
Okay.
It'd be a good nickname.
Yep.
Abby.
Go ahead.
You don't like that?
No.
You'll have one soon. I mean, I don't know anything. I'm just saying, probably.
It's not a bad guess.
It's probably not a bad guess. All right, let's do this. Take a break, collect ourselves here. Don't say the gram either. The gram. I always love the fact that Austin wasn't going to be on the gram, and then he got like influencer status with the UFC, so then he joined Instagram. There we go. Listen, we don't pretend to be cool. Jif is a peanut butter brand. GIF's a file type. Okay, there we go. Thanks for the help. All right, let's do this. Take a time out. Brent and Austin show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Signing day today, so congratulations to all those high schools signing. That's the rundown. Signing day is so different for us now. We used to run around town on this day. Now social media kind of helps us out, but we want to give them shout outs today too. And plus there's 2 signing days. So many of the footballers now go early and already on campus wherever they sign, so they do it in December. Some of the schools do it in December anyway with other sports too, but a lot of them will hold off until February. And we've got signings all over the place. So big shout out to the kids on this Wednesday and their families. And if you can navigate and play in college sports this day and age, man, you're doing something, because it is shut up, Hamby. It's your mic's on. It's a see, I can push back on Hamby too if he wants to start calling me old and dad stuff. Just tell him to shut up.
That works.
But anyway, congrats to the kids. We'll highlight some of them throughout the show along the way, and on CBS 47 and Fox 30 today.
The Tom Busch family of dealerships, they've been serving customers in the Jacksonville area for 55 years. They've been your go-to spot to get and stay on the road since 1970, and that's still the case here in 2025 and beyond, even if the cars have changed just a little bit. Check out the sleek line of vehicles of the future. That's right, electric vehicles. Tom Busch offers a full lineup of reliable electric cars with state-of-the-art service facilities. Like the new VinFast, Tom Busch is among the first dealers in the entire country to offer the VinFast, and let me tell you, this thing is sweet. The good folks at Tom Busch have all the info on charging, service, tax credits, and everything you need to keep your EV running smoothly. BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, Mini, and the newly offered VinFast. There's something for everyone at the Tom Busch family of dealerships. Ready to join the Tom Busch family? Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory online at tombusch.com.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
A big week for the UNF men's basketball team, a sweep of Stetson and Jacksonville University. Tonight was an overtime thriller over Stetson. That set the table for the River City Rumble, and Coach Matthew Driscoll joined the Brent and Austen show.
But I think these two games are the creme de la creme.
UNF couldn't miss in the first half. 11 three-pointers jumped the lead to 25 points, but the Ospreys would still have to hold off a late rally. UNF comes back home for the men's and women's hoop doubleheaders on Thursday and Saturday at the arena. Also say hello to softball season as the Ospreys visit #1 Florida on Thursday and then host the River City Leadoff on the weekend. For more on the Ospreys, visit unfospreys.com. That's your Swoop Minute.
Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Barcher branch, the one I usually come to. And they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans. And I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Has 50 cents per egg. Due to the nationwide rise in cost of eggs, we've added a temporary 50 cent per egg surcharge. I didn't get that today at Metro Diner.
Oh.
Or at least I didn't get notice of it. Or actually, as I'm thinking I didn't pay for the bill. So maybe I didn't look. But I don't think the prices were up because of it. But they did at Waffle House. That's what this is from, right?
Yep.
So it's like a thing, right? The eggs are crazy.
You know how much a carton of eggs costs right now?
Did I really see a number that said like something like $17?
No.
Okay, that was a goofy number.
No.
What is it?
It's like $4.30.
What is it usually?
It's like $2.
Yeah, it's usually like...
It's a carton of eggs.
Yeah, so you're just talking like a 12, like a dozen.
Yeah, a dozen eggs.
So until last time I went and bought eggs at the store, it hadn't been very long. I did see a picture that said like $17, so that was obviously somebody being stupid about it. But
yeah. Over 100 million birds have died with the flu and all this.
So this is related to that, right? The bird flu?
Yeah.
This is nothing political?
No.
Okay.
We're getting charged 50 cents per egg at Waffle House now. Surcharge.
Inflation stuff is it just keeps going. This last couple of years, you can feel it, you can see it. My first job was at Stop and Shop back home in Rhode Island.
What's that?
It's like Publix.
Oh, okay.
We don't have Stop and Shops down here. It's a New England thing. I don't even know if it's still called Stop and Shop back home. But so I used to pack those eggs up all the time, man.
Yeah.
I was delivering eggs, going to get it for the older ladies, packing them up. Got to be careful with the eggs. You don't want to break them.
Nope.
Well, they get mad if you break the eggs now.
A carton of eggs back in that day was probably 50 cents.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'm trying to think of the price on them, but $4 now. I saw somebody say, somebody was talking about like people are actually looking at, it's $6 to $8 now.
What?
Wow. Well, that seems like went from like $1.99 to $6 to $8. That's crazy.
In 1990, a dozen eggs was $1.
That sounds about right. That does sound about right. So we grow and raise what we eat. America have too many people with too much land for everyday food is expensive. That's what people were saying. They put like chicken coops now in the backyard to offset this. But then I saw somebody say like that the cost to do like a chicken coop is not cheap. Mm-hmm. The amount of feed and everything else. So
you have to do it for a while.
Do the math, folks. Just make sure you're doing the math. Don't run to go get chickens without doing some of the math. You might be better off just trimming back on the eggs, at least for a little bit.
You gotta get the eggs in.
We go through like you big egg eater.
Yeah, I am now. I didn't used to be, but I am now.
Yeah. You go through, like, especially if you're on a diet, like, eggs are good. Like, they'll just go throw a whole bunch of hard-boiled eggs in and leave them in the fridge, and then that's a good snack because they don't cost you much, plus good protein. So it's a good diet. I remember Steph did a diet one time, like way back. I think it was a Weight Watchers one or something. And she was eating, like, it felt like it was, it was like 100 eggs a day. It wasn't that much. I'm just saying. It was just like all eggs all the time was what felt like the diet. Get some chickens, 75 eggs for every 50 pounds of feed at $20. So it's $20 for 50 pounds of feed. And
75 divided by 20, is that what he's doing?
No, he said 50 pound of feed a month. Basically, is what is what people will tell you. I think it is. I think that's what I heard. And so that's $20 for the feed. So that's what you're spending, and then you get 75 eggs out of it. That seems like pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just 75 divided by 20. That's how much it costs you per egg.
Sure. Let's not do math. All right.
It's $3.75.
I'll call Steph if we want to do math. She's probably tutoring right now. But you got to get the chickens.
Right.
All right. Well.
Anyway,
cool off on the eggs a little bit. But hey, you know what? 50 cents more at Waffle House, it's still probably a pretty good buy.
Oh, yeah. You're still getting that all-star special. You're still getting out of there for less than $13, probably.
No doubt. All right, so we start with the Bucs and the Jags. This thing's never going to end. Where is this Bucs-Jags thing going to elevate to? Because the problem is they don't play until 2027.
If we go get Chris Godwin.
Who else can we get on the Bucs to piss them off?
Yeah.
No, seriously. Like, can you go get like their strength coach or something? Can we elevate somebody? We need somebody that we can give them a pretty good raise and a good promotion to be able to get it. So they can't block it.
Right.
I mean, what else do we want from Tampa?
We'll take their cafeteria lady. The only thing we can't take is Team Doctor because that's pretty. That's one of the most secure spots in Jacksonville.
Yeah, Dr. Catman, he's good. He is. He's got a job. He's got a lifetime guarantee, I think, here in Jacksonville. We hope so. He's a good guy, good dude. So, yeah, I don't know where this goes. Is this the end of it? Like, I thought it was already over. But apparently it's not.
It ain't going to be over. Something will happen.
Man. Well, bottom line is Greenberg's staying. What do you think? I think he stayed. I don't know. Here's the funny thing about it. I'm not sure I believe necessarily the report or the whole, like, yeah, he was afraid.
No.
Or he wasn't going to go over there for an interview. Like, I don't believe that stuff either. I actually kind of think, like, it was insinuating, I think was the way the terminology was. I think it's a bad insinuation. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think the Bucs are doing that. I think the Bucs could have avoided the Liam Cohen stuff if they handled that a little different. I think you could debate that. But this one is what it is. But I do wonder, is he going to get, like, now the right-hand man job, I'm assuming, like. So there'll be some progress made and promotion made for him. But whatever. I don't think he was getting the job anyway.
Well, no, I think this was all about that he's only ever been there. He's probably just one of those guys who's perfectly content to stay there. He's been there for 15 years. I'm sure he's had opportunities to move up at a greater, faster elsewhere, and probably just doesn't see it.
Yeah, and that's okay. You know what he reminds me of when they say he was like a 15-year guy? This popped in my head right away, and I didn't want to do this, especially if he was a GM candidate. But I was like, reminds me of Gene Smith. Gene Smith is a guy that, if he was in a similar situation, he had been with the Jags organization the whole time before he got GM, and he was in various roles. And if he had been offered, and maybe he was at times, offered to go somewhere else, I could see the loyalty to Jacksonville. Like, he helped start this thing. He helped build this thing. I helped turn it around. Like, there's loyalty there. You got family and kids, and they like it in Tampa. Like, why not? Now, listen, this is a coveted job. I mean, to be a GM, that's what you're kind of after. But if you are comfortable, you make enough money, all this stuff, I don't think people always chase. I think that's fair to say. I think, you don't always chase in our job. Not everybody, some people do, but you don't have to be. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something to remember. Not everybody's going to jump at the job, although if you've been working all your life and you have a chance to be a GM, why not take the chance? And especially with Liam Cohen, maybe they did tell him, right? Maybe they did tell him that it's probably not a great chance. And so even though Liam's over here and everything else, and maybe he had good insight on that they were going in a different direction. Maybe they got the insight everybody else has on Ian Cunningham, that he's going to be the guy. Right. It's kind of his job to take. Like maybe there is part of that. So you never know. They know more behind the scene than everybody else. Real MBB says, sign Godwin in free agency. How much do you want Godwin?
It's the same conversation for me with Kirk. I mean, he had more
Kirk
production.
or Kupp.
Or Kupp, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's...
How old's Godwin now?
He's probably the same age. He's probably a year older than... He's probably 32, if I had to say. 31.
Is he that old?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's been there for a while. I mean, obviously not as long as...
I'll tell you.
Oh, he's 28.
Yeah.
Oh, he's about to be 29. Okay, he's about to be 29.
29. He's coming off injured years, so he's had some of that. Good player.
Great player.
And, yeah, can you do better? Like Chris Godwin or Cooper Kupp?
Godwin 8 this year.
You said that fast.
Yeah, but, I mean, they were both injury prone, but Kupp's had more. I mean, through 7 games, 7 games, he had almost 600 yards and 5 touchdowns. So he was well on his way to a 1,300-yard year with 10 touchdowns.
Before that, he had that bad injury, right?
Yeah.
In that game, yeah. He got hurt the year prior, too, though, right?
No, he played 17 in 2023.
Oh, okay. Did he miss a year with like an ACL or something?
No.
He didn't? Okay. Why was I thinking that?
He played,
so this was the year with the significant injury?
This was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, why before said I'm good in Godwin? He's obviously not good with Gene Smith. Can't even mention his name. Delphonic, yeah, I get it. Mike McCarthy withdrew. Yeah, I get guys do that. Yeah, that makes sense. But before you get to the interview room, like sometimes you'll get to the interview room and then do that.
Right.
Like that's kind of a weird one with Greenberg. Is like he really must have known that he wasn't getting it if he didn't even want to get to the interview room. So hey, what else more can the Jags take from the Bucs? That's a fun little game we can play here on the Brent and Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Keep the chat rocking and rolling along the way. It's National Signing Day around here. Catch you up on some of the other things going on. The Florida Gators won last night in basketball without Clayton, who's sidelined a bit, but they're deep enough to be able to win. Vanderbilt's struggling a little bit right now too, so we'll see what the Gators do. We inch closer and closer to March Madness. We were hanging out with the Icemen yesterday. They ended up winning that game 2-1 in overtime with a couple minutes to go in the overtime session. So good win for them. And how about this new feature we've got on the show? Stuart Weber making that. I get excited about these things right here. We're not eliminating you from the chat, but we get to put this up and showcase some of the shows that are on. And eventually we'll land on what's coming up on the show and the lineup. Just baby steps around here, folks. Baby steps on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. But we do have that lineup going today, and we love you chatting with us throughout the show as well. Austin's going to join us at 11:45. I'm going to catch up with Marty Lee today at 11:30. He was the Don Shula Coach of the Year nominee for the Jacksonville Jaguars Prep, and also our Friday Night Zone Blitz, or Friday Night Blitz and Action Sports Jacks. He will join us at 11:30. He's headed to the Super Bowl this weekend. So one of the cool things about the guys that when they are that nominee, they get to go to the Super Bowl. The Jags send them there. And we'll catch up with Marty before he goes on Friday. Of course, we do have Super Bowl 59 on the docket as well. And that is coming up on Sunday on Fox 30. We'll have a Making of a Champion special Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can see it's the same show, but different times to catch it on CBS 47 and Fox 30. I've got on my list of show topics today Hamby's varsity team's first preseason game last night.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you're not the head coach, so this is not your team.
No, I'm the pitching coach.
How did we pitch it?
We only needed 2 guys to get through 6. We won 12-3 over Duval Charter.
All right. Got the dub.
Yeah.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't count.
But it's a good way to start.
It's a great way
so you like what you saw?
I like what I saw. Yeah.
You have 12-3 means you threw strikes.
Yeah, we threw the ball with a plate.
I like that.
Give yourself a chance.
High school baseball, man, it's about throwing strikes and not making mistakes. That's what it's about.
Yep. Doing not what the Jaguars doing. And when Liam Cohen said in the press conference.
That's right.
Not losing the game.
That's exactly what high school baseball is.
Yep.
So congrats on that. That's good stuff. The other fun one in here, did you see? You did because you shared it. But this is wild, and you forget about this. I kind of knew this in the back of my mind, but you forget about it, and this pertains to the Super Bowl. Pat Riley trademarked three-peat way back.
20-something years ago.
Yeah, I think
maybe even more than that.
More than that. I think it was like 1990 or something. Pretty sure. And so anybody who wants to use that pays him.
Yep.
For the rights to use it. Well, the Chiefs have knocked on the door. Because if they win, obviously they get the first three-peat in NFL history. And did I see like Riley will make almost $1 million?
He did it in 1989.
It was 89.
When the Lakers went back-to-back and when they were about to go for a three-peat. So he got the trademark. And it covers almost everything related to merchandise. So anything that has anything referencing three-peat on a hat, shirt, jacket, whatever, he's getting a check. So the first time that he got paid was with the Bulls when they completed their three-peat in 1993.
Did he do it again?
He made about $300,000 from that.
Okay.
Then when they did it again, he made another $600,000 from that.
Wow.
98. So they're expecting him to make well over $1 million if the Chiefs do it.
So you're saying he gets like a percentage of the merchandise. It's not like you pay to trademark, like you don't pay like an upfront fee. It's basically based on how much probably they sell.
Is that what you're interpreting? But that's how I interpret it.
Yeah, which would make sense.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, I would assume it's a little bit like a song.
Yeah,
like you get the rights to use a song.
He's almost getting a royalty in a sense.
Exactly, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Delphonic, you need to trademark some phrases. By the way, like so do we.
Yeah,
like I've said this, like you'll never understand.
I don't know if you can trademark something that
it's that basic. If you're not learning, you're dying.
That's probably on a shirt somewhere already.
Think so?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start selling hats, shirts. If it can't be trademarked, then it's good for fair use.
That's true.
So we can still sell it. We just put a little logo on it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you need to start trademark. I wonder if Pat Riley knew at the time. Like, was he that forward thinking that he knew he would when other teams do this?
I bet he
was. What a weird thing to think about.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something recently? Like Brady did a bunch of them, didn't he? I thought Brady trademarked a bunch of different phrases. Maybe it was like even TB12 or like anything to do with his name. Yeah, Delphonic, that's a good one. Yes, but I feel like people have, and maybe it's the Jags or somebody, have looked into trademarking Duval and couldn't. Or it's already trademarked. But I don't think it's already trademarked. I think you couldn't.
Yeah, he put in, Tom Brady put in like 120 trademarks. TB12, TB12 Foundation, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. You haven't got enough money?
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, I guess that's just part of your branding, right?
Yeah.
Like same thing with Riley. And these don't cost a lot of money. It doesn't cost a lot to trademark.
No.
But I think
it's going to be nice to walk out to your mailbox in a couple weeks.
Well, yeah, but I mean, think about it this way. So Pat Riley trademarks this in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever he spends on it. And you said he made $300,000 off the Bulls one,
and then $600 on the next one.
And $600. Is that the only two?
Yeah,
that's the only two.
Yeah.
Wow.
In a row? Yeah.
The Yankees won like 3 out of 4.
Mm-hmm.
You sure they didn't win 3 in a row?
Patriots never did.
Well, I know nobody's done it in the NFL. How much is that? So $900,000, say $1 million. Like you'd think when you trademark something, you're like, oh, that was really a smart idea. Now, hey, $1 million, $1 million. But Pat Riley's got a ton of money.
Yeah.
It is actually.
Oh, the Yankees did it from 98 to 2000.
Yeah, so I thought so. I thought they won 3. I wonder if he made any off that, or did they just not use it?
And then the Lakers did it in 2000 to 2002.
Ah, so he's probably made it other times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it just didn't include it. I mean, like Connecticut women's basketball has done it.
How about that? When that happens, do they get it? Does he get that?
Probably.
Wow.
That didn't include that.
So maybe he's made a lot of money.
Probably made about $5 million.
Is it? It'd be fascinating to see how much he's really made off that, and how much more now. And of course, everything's worth a little bit more these days.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Mr. Hugo, you're right. Lakers. Other people have won 3 in a row. So anytime it's three-peat on merchandise, and maybe some choose not to use it.
Yeah.
But I would think most people choose to use it.
Right.
So, pretty fascinating. Good forward thinking by Pat Riley, and all that gets you still won't trade Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
That son of a gun. It's like the only reason he's in the news is for Jimmy Butler these days. I can't believe Pat Riley's still getting after it. I was in Albany, New York for 5 years. He's from Schenectady, New York. And so that's where he's born and bred. And obviously a legend. And so we talked a lot about Pat Riley back in the day, and haven't really talked a lot about Pat Riley since. It's still amazing he's still such a player in all this for the Miami Heat, and what a legend he is really in his basketball career. But also a smart businessman along the way when it comes to the three-peat. Let's do is take a time out, and when we come back, get back into some of this Jag stuff. The Liam Cohen stuff is settled. What are you waiting on? What do you like so far? And a couple other thoughts about what he's doing with his staff still on the way. The Brent and Austen Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. It's a Wednesday National Signing Day here in town and really all across the country. So your favorite team signing guys, your favorite school signing guys, your favorite kids signing to play at the next level. And there you get a look at the First Coast Bucs. On the bottom left, Raines High School had their celebration early this morning. Fletcher on the top right. And there's Marty Lee in First Coast. We got 2 spots for those guys with the Bucs, and Marty Lee will have a spot right on the show coming up at 11:30 here as well. So congrats to all the kids signing. We'll continue to try to highlight some of the schools and the players all across the area, both here on the show today and also on CBS 47 and Fox 30. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade. I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
The rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum, with We Are Martyr rolling off our tongues. Hey! Never will we roam, for we know our place is own. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Well, there's James Gladstone. This is from the Rams, and they've pushed out a bunch of video over the years, and he's addressing the scouting staff before the draft. I think it's really interesting to me to see the Rams pivot, right? They went from saying, hey, we don't need those picks. We're going to do it this way. And then if you listen to this part in here, he's talking about, hey, we've got this many picks. And we also had, hey, he said something really interesting at this time. I think it was before this last draft. They had 63 players, I think, on their roster, which was the fewest players on the roster of any team in the National Football League. So then they said, well, this is a great opportunity for people, probably not just for the draft, but also for undrafted free agency to come join the team. So pretty interesting how they went about just that view of, hey, we didn't really need these draft picks, especially the early ones, to now, hey, look, we got this boatload of them. What also sticks out to me is just how much people love having picks. No, really. Like I get it. I do get it. Because that's where you build. That's where the building blocks. And just think about the simple math of it, right? Like it's a not 100% business. You don't know. But if you have, the more chances you have, the more chances you hit.
Yep.
Right? So there's just simple lottery bingo kind of math. But they love them. And I got to the point around here in Jacksonville, I was like, I don't care about draft picks anymore. Like, I am so tired of hearing how good the Jags have it because they have draft capital. What are you doing with it? Right? I mean, what was it? 2 years ago, the Jags had 13 draft picks. I don't even know how many of those guys were even in the NFL, how many the Jags had at the time. And you knew they weren't going to be able to keep all of them. But 13 draft picks, that was the one where I think they tried to trade out a bunch and they couldn't. They couldn't find a dance partner. It's like 13. What are we doing? So I was like, I'm over it. Are you a big believer in draft picks, Hamby?
I mean, not based off of the way that we've done it the last couple of years, but I mean, I think it's a much better strategy as far as sustained winning to have more draft picks than not. I think that's It's kind of simple, and if you do it right, it should be the way to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, you build because it's cheaper that way, first of all. You get people in your system. You get to grow your culture that way. You get to people apart. Then you try to keep as many as you can, right, as the second contract guys. By the way, you better be ready to talk today because I got sneezing going on. I got sniffle going on. I got to hit like the cough button here. Like, you better be able to go. It's one of those days here on the Brent and Austen show. Would be a good day to have Austin in for the whole show as well. But we're going to battle through it here together. I'm going to put me on like the little screen, like one of our QR codes there for the Amelia coming up. That's where my picture should go today.
Oh, yeah.
So people don't have to look at me on this whole show. But here's the other part of, remember Liam Cohen has said multiple times, 20 draft picks. It was something that was attractive to him.
20 in the next 2 years.
In the next 2 years, yeah.
Okay.
So something that's attractive for the building part of it to create their own identity, to get the player that they want in here. And that's why this GM has to be on the same page of it as well.
Right.
So listen, I'm not discounting the draft picks. Like, I get it. I understand why people get so excited about it. I've just been like, it hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Like, it really hasn't worked to have all these draft picks unless you're picking the right guys and putting the pieces together.
In Jacksonville, it's not that just we haven't picked the right guys. It's that we've continually traded good players away for draft picks in the last 5 years. And it's I think it's twofold. It's with the players that you've traded away, and half the time those guys that you've traded away have been guys that you already drafted, right? So it's like this cycle, and nothing within the cycle is good. Even going back to Jalen and everybody like that, like, you take guys in the draft, and even after you've already come to the realization that, we missed, then you try to get something for them, and you're not really replenishing that way. So it's just like you kind of like pile up on each other. And yeah, there's not a whole lot of reason, at least in recent years, to be, Jags fans check out of the draft after the second round.
Well, yeah, you haven't found enough, and Austin brings this up all the time, like, where's the needle in the haystack finds? Like, usually somebody, Puka Nacua, those kind of guys.
Right.
The Jags did that a little bit earlier on, like the Telvin Smiths. I mean, they got good play out of Telvin Smith in the fifth round.
So kind of what we thought Cisco was going to be.
Cisco was a third rounder. We thought Antonio Johnson could develop into that. He kind of took a little step back, it seemed like, last year. Like, do the Jags have some candidates of that? The Jags have found third rounders in Brandon Linder in the past. Can you get the fourth and fifth round? Like, for a minute there, it looked like what's his name out of Florida, linebacker here in Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah.
Played for a good couple weeks. Holy cow!
Holy cow! It's rubbing
We're
off.
both blanking on this.
Ventrell
Miller. Thank you.
Goodness gracious!
Holy cow! Sorry, Ventrell. It looked like there's a find, right? There's that fourth round find. He looks like he's playing real well. And maybe he is. Maybe he will.
Right.
The funny thing is,
we still don't know.
Liam Cohen said, "Hey, we got a couple of linebackers." I don't really know which ones he was talking about. I really don't. I don't know. Is he talking about? I don't think he was talking about Chad Muma. He's definitely talking about Foye.
Yeah.
But is he talking about Devin Lloyd, or is he talking about Ventrell Miller as the other one? Honestly, don't know. But yeah, you got to have the bullets to be able to go take those shots and then hopefully land them. I get the attraction to it. The Jags, it's been less attractive for me for two reasons. The 2 big years the Jags have won, while they have used draft picks to build a lot of their young talent, even in 17 with the Miles Jacks of the world, the Telvin Smiths of the world, even Blake Bortles of the world. Used Leonard Fournette that 17 year, Jalen Ramsey, of course. So they had these guys, Yannick Ngakoue also in that mix during some of those years. But in 22, they had Trevor, right? They had Etienne. That 21 draft class was really starting to take shape, look good. They also have Josh Hines-Allen. So you have some of these, but really the reason they won those 2 years was their free agent acquisitions. Mm-hmm. It was the combo, but to put them over the top was not the draft. It was really, they spent a lot of money those years to be able to bring in the free agents. Even prior to, like, Malik Jackson was part of it in 17, and then they bring in Calais and A.J. Boye and everyone else. Well, this time around they bring in Christian Kirk and Zay Jones and Evan Ingram, and they really pack it up around in 22 around Trevor Lawrence. So, you know, you're not going to do all one or all the other. The Jags have said, even before firing Baalke, before firing Pederson, before this season, we have got to get to where we're not spending so much money in free agency. We want to be able to give our guys that are already here those contracts. Mm-hmm. You can make the case they did that a little bit early with Tyson Campbell. Some will make the case they even did a little early with Trevor Lawrence. They did a little bit late maybe with Josh Hines-Allen. Are they going to do it this year with Trayvon Walker? We'll see. But that's what they want to be doing. They want to take They want to give the money to those guys, the guys that they drafted, they developed, and so you get 20 picks over the next 2 years. And I think it's really something that obviously Liam Cohen has said multiple times. It's going to make this job attractive to be able to bring in 20 of your own guys, and let's just say you have a hit rate of, I don't know what the hit rate is, but let's just call it 60%. You keep 12 of them over the next 2 years. Mm-hmm. Well, now you replace 12 guys on your roster, and that's not even counting free agency, with guys that you are now have homegrown, picked to the guys that you want, play the system you want, everything else. If you look at what Baalke did, he actually did a good job of identifying the player that they wanted and getting them.
Yeah.
Because you knew it.
Yeah.
Like, you knew what they were looking for. We actually have criticized that they maybe had too many of those guys at the end of the day.
Long arms, baby.
Right? No, I'm not even talking long arms. I'm talking personality-wise. I'm talking leadership-wise, trait-wise, good guys. He wanted guys. What they all will say is that we want guys that love football. Because what they're saying there is, if you don't love football, you're going to take the money and use this as a business transaction, and you're not going to be as motivated.
Right.
Human instinct is, if I give Coach Rip in the chat there $10 million, he's a little less motivated to go coach those kids down in Crescent City probably than he would be if I don't.
Right.
Because he could be on the beach in Crescent City instead. Right? I mean, that's just human nature. So that's why they all say, hey, we got to find guys that love ball and love to play, and they don't just play for the check. And so I think they've done a good job of finding those guys, right? I mean, they're paying guys, but they're finding guys, and the money's so big now, you've definitely got to be aware of that. And but I do think Baalke found the guys they were looking for. Good locker room guys, good to build around, good. You want to have fun being in there. You want to like the guys you're going to work with. Like, they had it, especially coming off Urban, right? And the toxicity that exists. And this place wasn't a great place to be around. It's not that fun. So to be able to deliver on that, like, listen, those are good things that Baalke did. We just argue at the end of the day, did he do too much of that? Because you still have to have some of those guys that you don't know when he walks in the door. It's like, okay, what's he doing today? Is he going to get in a fight with me, or is he going to be the greatest dude in the world? Like, you need a little bit of those folks in an NFL locker room, I think. How many? That's debatable, but the Jags have none of them. They really, or it feels like they don't have any of them. So it'll be interesting to see what this regime does. How do you identify the player you want? How do you identify the skill set? The long arms crap, right? But how do you identify the personality? How do you identify how they tick? Do you take some chances? I always like the quote from Dave Caldwell, we are not going to have 53 angelic players. But if you look at that and what he said there, they had too many non-angelic players probably at the end of the day. Because what happens is you get cliquey in a locker room too. And when you get cliquey in a locker room, you start following the wrong guys. That's what happened in 18-19, quite frankly, when it started to splinter. That did not happen here this last couple of years. So there's a difference between the two locker rooms. How do you get in between that somewhere? Because we were a little bit mad that people weren't throwing helmets and throwing Gatorade buckets and things. That 17, 18, 19 team was doing that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit too much of that. So I'm fascinated with what kind of players they identify. And do we see a common thread, or is there a little more of a mix to try to get it right?
Yeah, you talk about the philosophy and how they've admitted that they want to spend a little bit less money on free agency and retain some of their talent. At the same time, when you say that and you haven't had a lot of success, but you know that that's your driving force, it can lead you to overpay in order to retain guys. And that's the argument that a lot of people would make for a guy like Tyson Campbell, right? That they're trying, so hard.
Too hard.
For that to be their new MO, that they're willing to give a little bit of extra money or sign a guy a year early or whatever the case may be. I'm not saying that, Tyson Campbell didn't deserve the money, but you can see how they could get there.
Well, it's debatable, though.
Right. So what I'm most curious about now going forward with that is what does a Cohen and a new general manager and even a Baselli do for guys like Trayvon Walker, right? As far as contract extensions go, when they do it and how much, does retaining the draft and homegrown talent still, because that was a, if you were to look at the, let's say, you want to use the term lightly, but the accomplishments of Trent Baalke, if you were to put him on a bullet point from his tenure in Jacksonville.
You can't say that around here.
That would be on there. No,
I think you're right.
He retained homegrown talent.
They had a mission, right? They had a plan.
Yeah.
Like that part of the vision they did. They did have that.
Right.
And they did it maybe a little too much, and they misplayed some of that. I thought they should have signed Josh Allen earlier.
Right.
And they paid for it at the back end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And maybe they did a little too early for Tyson Campbell, but it doesn't hamper. It's still, we might still get some really good years out of Tyson. It may just been a couple off years, and maybe this coaching staff gets more out of him. I don't think anybody's mad that we have Tyson Campbell around. And I don't care how much you pay these guys. It ain't my money, as I always say, as long as it doesn't hamper you to do some other things. That's why people were pissed off about the Josh Allen stuff, because they're like, oh, it hampers you from doing the Calvin Ridley deal, franchise tagging him. Well, guess what? That kind of worked out.
Yes, it did.
Right? So as long as it works out at the end of the day, whatever. But I don't know. Like, I'm kind of putting this in writing now that we're bringing this up. Like, Gene Smith we had a comment, I think it was Ryan Williams, who said Gene Smith wanted captains and guys that were married. And I think we said that. I'm not sure Gene said that. I don't remember Gene saying that. Maybe the captain part, but not the married and choir boys and all that kind of stuff. But I think what he was really going after, to the point, is guys that had leadership ability and maturity. Like, he did want that good guy, right? Like, he kind of wanted that good guy. And that might have been based off some toxicity in prior years. I'll give you another example of that happened at the University of Florida. When Urban Meyer left, part of Will Muschamp's deal was to clean things up.
Yeah.
Like, people really hammered Muschamp because by year 2, or maybe it was year 2 that they actually did win, but by year 3 they weren't. Year 2, I think he had a great year. I think it was like 11-2, if I remember correctly. But the first year wasn't very good at all. It might have been a 4-8, or maybe it was year 3. I don't know. But they were obviously getting on Muschamp, and maybe they had good reason to. But what they didn't ever give him enough credit for is that he had to fix the mess that Urban had left.
Right.
Well, guess what? I will always say this around here, and you've heard me say it a million times already. Doug Pederson had to do the same thing. Urban, ironically. But he had to do the same thing. Like, he really did. He had to clean things up. So, like, if you say, hey, Doug didn't, I don't think anybody feels this way either. I haven't heard this a lot. Like, Doug didn't do anything. Or, Doug did. I think people thought Doug did do some. I think they think that he did do some things. He got this back on course. He obviously 22 and first half of 23. It was really good. I mean, arguably one of the best teams in the National Football League for a 20-game span is where he got this to. Like, that. It was one of the great quick fixes, maybe of all time. It was tracking to. And then
Yep.
And that's why we're here. But I don't think people, like, if you as a fan, I don't think people are super people don't like Baalke. They never liked the Baalke thing. And while that might be a little over the top, they never could get around to liking Baalke. I don't think that's the case with Pederson, because I think they do understand deep down. You might have to be reminded of it, like I'm doing right now, but you understand, like, hey, you have to fix that. And he did have some, like, 22 was cool, and part of 23 was pretty cool. And then just couldn't do it, couldn't finish it off. Okay, time to try to find something else. So I think that's kind of Doug's legacy. But the point is, what are these guys going to look at in a player? Do we know that? What do the Eagles look at in a player? What do the Bucs look at as a player? What do the Rams look at? in a player? What do the Chiefs look at in a player? Like, I don't know unless you're there covering that team and you know those guys, or you feel like you know those guys. You never always know the guys, but you feel like you know the guys, that you really know what they found.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, in Philly, guess what? They're going to get talent, and they like those Georgia Bulldogs, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Right? And that was a talent thing. But is it more than that? Is it, hey, they're well coached,
Right.
so they got good IQ. They're unselfish because they had a bunch of players to be around, right, that were good.
And they've been to the top.
They know how to win, versatile, all that stuff. What is it that's going to identify with this group? And what would it be, Hamby? What is it? Like, do you raid Georgia? Do you raid Ohio State now? Like, are you going to go make a run at Ohio State players because you like their culture, how they're taught, everything else? Are you going to go raid LSU's closet because the stars in the league are LSU guys and they are dudes when they get to the league?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they aren't just like, hey, come on, we'll see if it works. No, it seems like every LSU guy right now is an NFL star.
Mm-hmm.
So do you actually take that? I asked this question to Doug later in the year. Like, how much does that change your thinking? And it's probably worth a question to these guys once they all get settled at the combine. Like, how do you not take that into consideration and be like, all right, I got LSU guy on the board. I got, Colorado guy on the board. I got Oregon guy on the board. And we like this. But, like, in my mind, I'd be saying, well, I kind of like the way this LSU deal works. And, Coach, it's not just LSU receivers.
Careful, Brent. You're bordering on an SEC bias.
It's not just LSU receivers, though. It's Jaden Daniels. It's Joe Burrow, right? There's something in the water there in Baton Rouge where you've got stud players. So that's my point. Like, what do you identify? And it might be as simple as that. Philly basically said, yeah, we want to go get the best players, whether it was ironic, whether it was coincidence, or whether it was calculated. They went down to Athens and got guys.
Yeah. By the way, with LSU, it's also Daniil Hunter, Devin White, Patrick Queen, Grant Delpit.
Yeah. Listen, even while they were not winning national championships and while they're disappointing at times, they have always had they usually were like second to Alabama in terms of the studs they had. I think quality of player-wise. Now, you could make a case for the Ohio States and others. But, yeah, I think, do you do that? Like, do you, and then what does the player look like? And where are you willing to take the risk on personality? And can you find some calculated risks that, like, I kind of like the crazy this dude's got?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, I think of guys when I say that, and you've got to be very careful saying that because I say it with all respect of how the game is played and how crazy the game is, quite frankly. And that I do think when you cross into that line, man, there's a flip of a switch. But I think of a guy like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Like, he's the guy you don't want to play against.
Mm-hmm.
You sometimes don't even want him on your team.
Yeah, because he just does some cringy stuff.
Like, it's like uncomfortable sometimes to have him on your team.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? In the last couple of years, hasn't he been a part of the Eagles and the Lions?
He's done a lot of winning.
I mean, that says something. Can you go find that guy, that edgy guy, that's going to be okay? So I don't know how you identify it. I'm just curious to see where their identification is in the player. And what I guess I would encourage now here in Jacksonville, based on the last couple of years, is you can't make it all alike. You know, one of the great things I've been told over the years, and I think this is true for any walk of life, this would be a great little, if you're in a management role or a hiring role or anything else, that the first thing, if I were to ask Hamby right now, it's like, hey, if we're going to go get another person in here on the show, what do you think they should have? What are their attributes, right? What do you like? And what you're probably going to do is you're probably going to be like, well, I like this, and this. And the reason you're going to say that is because that's what you believe in. That's who you are. Where the best part of this show, and maybe one of my greater finds, is asking Austen to do the show. Because quite frankly, Austen and I aren't alike
at all
in many ways.
Yeah.
Right? So, but that's the way you're supposed to do it on the coaching staff too. That's why you're supposed to do it in a leadership building, right? And because you got to fill in the gaps where you're not as strong or you might be different. How do they do that in a locker room is my point here. Like, can you do that in the locker room? How do you identify that? You don't need another Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk and Josh Hines Allen and those mentalities and leadership ability. And now you got those guys. You got a lot of those guys. You need somebody that is willing to maybe go over the line, and you got to yank them back. And YB400 says, Jarian Jones, that dude gets thrown out of a game. Yeah, get that guy. Give me a couple more of those guys, and I'll hold them back. Right? So, but don't give me too many of those guys. That's the battle. That is the battle. And that's what they've got to figure out. I think that's fascinating about team building. Yeah, YB400, disagreeing is a good trait in an organization. It's an uncomfortable one sometimes, but it's a good one. It makes you better. And you're talking about 53 guys from different backgrounds, different beliefs, different everything. It feels like right now the Jags have a locker room, and I'm telling you this is a feel, not true. It feels like they all grew up in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Or they all grew up in St. Johns County, or they all grew up in Clay County, or they all, and I know they didn't, and it's obvious they didn't, and they all come from different financial backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, beliefs, all this stuff that I just said, but it doesn't feel that way. It kind of feels like they all went to school together at the same place. I think that's a little bit of a problem that the Jags have right now. They got to go find a little bit of a mixed bag, if you will. And so it'll be interesting to see what this new GM and really Liam Cohen identifies as that, in almost like a psychological way. That's where the psyche comes in. You got to get good players, but you got to get the right mix. And we found that out this last couple of years. This is a tremendous locker room, tremendous people. I said that to Liam Cohen's dad when I was talking to him. I was like, man, because he asked me about somebody. I think he was saying something about Kirk or something like that. And I was like, yeah, awesome. And I said this straight to his dad. I was like, he's going to love every guy in that locker room. Like, it's going to be tough to make some tough decisions. That's how much he's going to love everybody in that locker room. But that's a little bit of their problem, too. Like, it's okay to not love the guy you go to work with.
Right.
As long as he gets the job done really well and helps you win. Or gal. Like, that's a real thing. And think about your workplace, and that might be the case, but then think about how important they might be to the operation. So, I think the Jags have to figure that out. But I'm really interested to see what's the common thread, like if it is a Rams thing, if it's an Eagles thing, and what they were able to find and what they've been able to find. Because it looks like the Jags are tapping into that, right? Definitely the Eagles. There's a lot of similar backgrounds with the Eagles so far in this GM search. And how will that mesh with what Cohen believes? Now, if you go get the Rams guy, obviously he's been in the Rams building. So has Cohen been in the Rams building. So how does that all come together? Let's take a time out. We're going to visit with Marty Lee. Maybe ask him a little bit about that. He's been in coaching business for a long time. He's going to the Super Bowl on behalf of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was our Friday Night Blitz Coach of the Year for really everything he's done for a very long time here in Jacksonville. And you've got this one up right now. Let me give a shout out to some of the kids because I have an email. And
it's a lot of them right there.
All right, here we go. We got Dom DiLoretto. That's our baseball guy going to Northwestern. Good dude. Jack Otteson, College of Central Florida. Matthew Devine, Barry University. Footballers, Carter Trobaugh. Hope I said that right. Hamden Sydney College. Sam Perkins, Macalester College. Alexander Hilliard, University of British Columbia. How about that? It's pretty cool. Basketball, Bailey Harris, University of West Florida. Good program out there. Girls lacrosse. Bella Vituli, Kennesaw State University. Maev O'Neill, George Washington University. Gosh, I hope I'm saying this correct. Seen him for the first time. Boys lacrosse, Trey Carter, Hamden Sydney College, Jackson Soud, Berry College, Colton Augustine Berry College, Joey Roberts Center College, triathlon. Got somebody going to school to do the triathlon.
Wow.
God bless you. Lucrezia Gowdy, University of Denver. Cool place. Track and cross country, Jake Officer going to the Navy. Girls soccer, Ava Galani, University of Memphis. Rivers Kearney, Sewanee, the University of the South, of course, Charlotte Ritter, Austin Peay University, softball Riley Appleby's going to Valdosta State, diving Laurel Coppage to Davidson, beach volleyball Kalen Chesser, University of North Florida, right here at home, and L. Steiger going to Stetson in the A-Sun. Water polo as well, Sawyer Weekland going to Siena up there in Albany, New York. So congratulations to all those kids at Episcopal School of Jacksonville. Job well done. Good luck at the next level. It's one of the hot spots in the area.
Welcome you to String Sports Brewery out at the beach. Big crowd on hand tonight. The fans are here.
And now the newest hot spot at the beach is open. String Sports Brewery in Jax Beach has opened its doors with rave reviews.
We're going to be fans forever.
Cozy up to the bar. Grab a seat in the sports-themed restaurant, or grab a seat outside and feel that breeze coming off the beach as the weather warms. Just like the original location in Springfield, try the popular beer menu and come for lunch or dinner too, because the food is fantastic. He's got some exciting news heading into 2025 as well. Christian Kirk. It's where we hosted Jags Report Live in the football season, and the String Sports Brewery staff can't wait to host you. Hey, welcome back here to String Sports Brewery. And if you haven't checked out the new location in Jax Beach, which many of you have, you got to do it. String Sports Brewery, now with 2 locations in Springfield and now open in Jax Beach on Penman Road.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Kruzanovich's under-23 men's team. Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue, as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season.
Then attention turned to the future, with MLS Next teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years, and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports, from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com.
The Tom Bush family of dealerships, they've been serving customers in the Jacksonville area for 55 years. They've been your go-to spot to get and stay on the road since 1970, and that's still the case here in 2025 and beyond, even if the cars have changed just a little bit.
Check out the sleek line of vehicles of the future. That's right, electric vehicles. Tom Bush offers a full lineup of reliable electric cars with state-of-the-art service facilities. Like the new VinFast, Tom Bush is among the first dealers in the entire country to offer the VinFast, and let me tell you, this thing is sweet. The good folks at Tom Bush have all the info on charging, service, tax credits, and everything you need to keep your EV running smoothly. BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, Mini, and the newly offered VinFast. There's something for everyone at the Tom Bush family of dealerships. Ready to join the Tom Bush family? Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory online at tombush.com.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Wow, look at all the kids from Fleming Island. The Golden Eagles sending a bunch to college. And let's see if I got some names here or not. We'll check them out on...
There's a lot of names.
There's a lot of names. I like getting all the kids' names in. We used to do a half-hour show. Remember that? Remember we put together that half-hour show and it would be like this a whole list of names. Just trying to get kids' names on TV was our biggest quest.
Yeah, I do. I do remember. I had the list, by the way. If you'd like me to
the Fleming Island one.
Fleming Island.
Yeah, let's go run them down, man. Give them a shout out.
All right, here we go. And again, much like you did with Episcopal, we got a lot of them, and we're reading them on first look.
This is Stuart Weber's voice.
Hey there, Stuart Weber here in the studio.
You're not being judged. Don't worry. Just say it fast, and only people that will complain will be them and their parents.
My friend, I have done many soccer games, so I'm very used to just saying it fast and hoping it's right. That works better. Okay, here's me, established. Hello. Go back to the picture. There's our people. Here we go. We got A.J. Witt playing football at West Point for the Army. Olivia Sykes softball at Brown. Ava Brinkman swimming at the University of Florida. That's the Gator mention there. Brody Hoth playing soccer at Ripon College. Kaylee Kirkland volleyball at St. John's River State College. Dylan Frine in golf at Carson Newman. Nate Van Hoff and Demir Jackson both signed with football. It says undecided, so I'm not sure where they signed, but it's one of the flags in front of them. So if you recognize them, it's the flag in front of them. Savannah Jackson volleyball at UNC Pembroke. Emmett Kuhlenkamp playing golf at UWF, home of the Argonauts. Let's keep going. Kevin Reyes playing football at Minot University. Minot? I think it's Minot.
Minot, I think.
Minot?
Yeah, that's where Ian Shields, former JU coach, is there.
There you go. Shout out to Coach Shields. Emily Top volleyball at UWF. Ava Hendricks running at Indiana State. Chloe Blanc playing golf at Palm Beach State College. Aubrey Taylor soccer at Columbia International. Stephen Franklin football at Benedict. Jaden Smith football at the Massachusetts Maritime Academy. Bailey Montgomery volleyball at St. John's River. Jacob Campbell's running at Western Carolina. When I say running, that means cross country and track. So a little combo. Juliana Sosa and Layla DiCristofaro weightlifting at Warner University for both of them. And Lauren Abram softball, St. John's River State College.
Yeah, very well. And Olivia Sykes on the softball field going to Brown. I didn't realize she was going to Brown. That's cool. So good for them. Congratulations to all of them. We'll continue to give you some shout outs along the way here. Like I said, on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network and on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Salt Life says, still can't believe Brent thought Urban Meyer was a good hire. Well, I don't think it is anymore, but I didn't mind it at the time.
Love that spelling.
What?
Higher.
Oh, listen, I'm not the grammar police. We do plenty of that.
It just gave Hamby a reason to do some Creed back there. That's all.
That's a good song.
Yeah, good stuff.
I wonder how many people genuinely went back then and hated the hire around here on Urban Meyer. And I know many people go back and say, I hated the hire on Urban Meyer. Is that Weber the goat or Weber a puppy?
I think that's a goat.
Oh, it is?
Looks like a goat emoji, if I had to guess.
Does it?
Yeah. Shout out Delphonic.
Yeah.
I don't know. The last time he was in there, he was saying we were SLOW.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out the
acronyms.
We weren't going to Brown.
No, we were not.
Coach Rip says, I would bet my house on it at the time he would get figured out and figure out a way in terms of Urban Meyer. And I said that this is still the thing that maybe in my 25-year career I'm the most stunned about.
How it went so far south.
That they only won 2 games. Like, I knew you might run into some issues with Urban Meyer. But Urban with Trevor winning 2 games out of 15 is stunning. Or was it 2 out of 13? 2-11 maybe they went.
Ironically, it went south after we went north. We went to his hometown for Pete's
I'm getting
sake.
a lot of those things on Facebook this
the
week,
memories.
actually, yeah.
I just saw him the other day. I saw me doing stand-ups in the snow. That was early beard days.
By the way, it won't be hard to go to Liam Cohen's hometown for me.
Yeah.
All I got to do is go back home.
Yeah, easy enough.
To do that. So maybe we'll have some clam cakes and chowder.
I think that's one of my favorite things about watching the TGL, the golf. They keep saying from Palm Beach Gardens. I'm like, yeah, hometown.
That is the hometown.
Getting the shout out. Love it.
Brent Martineau, Stuart Weber, and Jason Hamby. Austen Lane's going to check in here in just a little bit. Trying to get Marty Lee on, but he might be busy a little bit with this signing day.
He was taking pictures earlier with the student athletes. Saw that on the social media, so shout out to Marty. Yeah, signing day is an interesting thing, right? I mean, I'm sure you've talked about it a little bit, but how it's shifted now over the years where this used to be the day. This used to be the excitement day where everyone was making their decisions, and now all those football players are making those decisions in December.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of changed things up.
And already on campus in January, many of them.
A lot of them are early enrolling because they have to get that competitive edge to maybe try and sniff some playing time or transfer to another school and get NIL money and transfer in there and play. It's a different world. Let's just say that, suffice to say. It's funny. I have tons of signing day memories, not my own because I never signed anywhere, but signing day memories from a local media standpoint and getting the chance to cover this when it was a little different, right? I was so excited because my last job, I worked in Columbus, Georgia, and we had a student athlete signing with the Georgia Bulldogs, and it was one of those exciting reveals. From under the table, he pulls out a puppy bulldog, a baby puppy bulldog, and everyone got so excited.
Especially Hamby when he saw that.
I'm sure Hamby got excited about Isaiah Crowell.
Oh, yes.
Going to the Georgia Bulldogs.
Career didn't end all that great.
No, I know. But, we try to spotlight the highlights.
Football player.
Yeah, good football player. We talk about the good moments. And so, everyone was excited about that. You know what I was excited about? That picture of the puppy showed up on the front page of ESPN.com. And sure enough, right on that picture was a WRBL mic flag right in the middle of the shot, higher up than the ESPN one next to it. And I was yeah, score one for the locals, baby.
Those are wins around here, folks.
That's a big win. I brought that tripod stand with me to each of the stops I went to and plopped that thing right in front of the kids so my giant mic flag would show up. And I was excited. I was a one-man sports department in Columbus, Georgia.
You got it done.
I was stoked.
That's great.
It was a good
stuff.
day.
Hey, Cotto 83, we were just talking about the dynamic of a locker room, and I think this is a pretty good one, right? Age is constantly discussed about position. What's the gray area of too young and too old? I don't know what that is, but keep in mind when Dave Caldwell came in here, ripped it up, they got too young, and I do think you can get too old. I think there's a danger point with some of these guys with the Jags now, like on their offensive line, Morse and Sheriff. Are they, I don't want to call them too old at 31 years old, but are they down on the other side of things where you can get better? And if you get younger, because they're not going to produce as much. This was my caution with Calvin Ridley. If you got Ridley, okay, this year may be good, but what about next year? Tennessee's going to have to live with that. Does he age quick? Does he turn into Julio Jones and even to a sense DeAndre Hopkins where you really lost a lot? When is that? When does that start to happen? But do you need some old players? Because guess what? We said this about Calais Campbell, and if you kept him for 3 more years, you would have still had production.
And I think part of that, too, is it is a position-by-position discussion.
It is really that.
So depending on what position you're talking about offensive line, that's more likely you're not going to be as upset about a veteran guy on the offensive line because you kind of admire those guys who've been in the trenches for 8-9 years. But that also comes with wear and tear, especially now where they're having to deal with the physical freaks that they are on the defensive line, which has changed over the years to where they're now dealing with these speed moves from guys who are 300-something pounds. It's like, how does that work? And you're supposed to be the big guy pushing up against me, not the one who's going to do all these crazy moves to me. It's changed. It has changed.
Yeah, it definitely has. It's funny, like Coach Rip brings up. See, Taven Bryan pick to me, I don't know if it haunts you. Does it haunt you because it could have been Lamar Jackson? Maybe. I just never felt at the time that the Jags were going to Lamar Jackson in that situation. And they had signed or extended Blake, I'm pretty sure, right after the 17 season. So then it really wasn't in play. But Taven Bryan was a pick 28 or something like that. You're not going to hit home runs on 28. Even the good franchises miss on 28.
Late first round is tough.
Yeah. I mean, now, been better to get more than you got out of them. Absolutely.
Sure.
But I don't know if it haunts me as my... C.J. Henderson and Kayvon Chason, that's a haunt.
Those are misses. Yeah.
Because now it turns out, like, even if you had got Okudah, he would have been a miss.
Well, it's because they're trying to fill in for Jalen and Yannick.
That's right. But instead of the Chason one, you could have had like Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, that would have been
right. And how does that?
If you been good,
let's just say you take two of those guys in that 2020 draft. What's really fascinating to me on that is if they had hit on those, where would they have been in 2021? Would everybody had asked for their release under Urban, or where would they really have been by year 3 of those guys, 2020, 2021, and 22 when Doug got in? Let's just assume everything happened the way it did. You didn't win enough games. You still got everything you got. And then Doug comes in here. How much better are you if you hit on the 2 picks? Whoever it was. Maybe it's not Justin Jefferson, but they're just good players. Well, you didn't whiff.
Pederson doesn't come in. We're building a statue for Marone for those 3 straight Super Bowls. What are you talking about? The other Doug never goes anywhere.
Well, the reality of it is, here's how it does change. If you don't get C.J. Henderson and Kayvon Chason, and you hit on those 2, let's just say you got Justin Jefferson, and you hit on one of them.
Yeah.
Well, you probably don't get Trevor Lawrence in 2021.
Sure.
Because you probably don't have the record. Now, what you'd say is like, well, Trevor Rosen delivered. Like some of the people would say that. Well, none of those guys
in that
class have delivered the way we thought they were going to deliver. So, it's you get here for a reason, and that's why I don't really look back too much on it. We know in totality why they haven't done very well. Like that run of 2013 to like 2020, they missed too many times in the first round. They had the picks, and that's why I start saying I don't give a dang about the picks unless you're getting them right. But you do end up in these spots where, let's just say it all works out now. You ended up in a spot for a reason to get Trevor. You end up in a spot to get Liam Cohen and reset this whole franchise because now you can get rid of Baalke, even though it happened clunky. And you but if this works, you got here for a reason, and you wouldn't have been here without it. Yeah. So that's why I don't really like looking back that much. Right. Hey, you got the debut of a Cup Date coming up today at 1 o'clock, and we've got a week with us as well, which is a look back on all the things we do with Action Sports Jacks. That's on the network, 1 o'clock today.
Yeah, excited to get a new season of the Cup Date going here, Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and then re-airs throughout the week, Wednesday and Thursday at 6, Thursday again at 1. So plenty of opportunities to catch the Cup Date. We talk all things NASCAR Cup Series, of course, coming off the Clash this past weekend at Bowman Gray. I know we have a lot of NASCAR fans in our viewing area, and I am certainly chief among them. I'm certainly one of them.
Yes, you are.
So,
Chief NASCAR officer.
I'm our guy. That's right. CNO. I've been doing some. There you go.
Gosh, I'm glad that didn't mean something else because I just blurted that out.
It could have been bad. There's your graphic. Every Wednesday, 1 o'clock, we got the Cup Date. You can watch it on actionsportsjacks.com. For our social media watchers of this show, you got to flip over to the stream, either on the website or on your smart device, TV, phone, whatever it may be.
And by the way, hey, this is exciting news. See, I'm excited today because like we have our lineup now when we go to break, right?
Sure.
And you made the lineup that we can put over our chat box when I'm tired of seeing Delphonic make fun of me or something. But boom, we just put up our lineup right over it. And we also have fixed something on our website where if you just go to actionsportsjacks.com, first of all, we got actionsportsjacks.com.
There you go. There's your lineup.
So we could say, just go actionsportsjacks.com. It sends you right to the sports page, which now it's automatically playing as the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Yes. You don't have to click from news to sports. Now it automatically starts sports for you.
Beautiful. One-stop shop. So you can find all this stuff, all the shows now, right there. actionsportsjacks.com.
And it'll automatically play when you go to that site.
We're working on one more thing. Once we get by the Super Bowl, we'll do it probably by next week, is we'll have a good lineup like you see here on the screen of things that are playing every day. So you can know what's to come and what to watch and everything else, because these shows are on social media, but not the rest of the shows. Like Cup Date isn't on social media.
Correct.
A Week with Us isn't on social media. After the game, Stadium Pulse is. Well, actually, after the game is too. There are some shows that are on social media and some are not. But you can, and you watch a lot of replays of them on the network. So actionsportsjacks.com, folks. That's probably the easiest way now to find everything. If you're not watching on Twitter or YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, just go to actionsportsjacks.com.
Easy enough, yeah. So we're in the busy time here for the Cup Day. We're getting ready for Daytona. We got a week and a half to go until the Great American Race is here at Daytona International Speedway. I'm doing driver interviews all this week. I got 4 of them lined up. I already got Joey Logano I interviewed on Monday. Got Kyle Larson set up for tomorrow.
Wow, I get the big names.
Big names, getting some big names. Today we got Shane Van Gisbergen, the intriguing Kiwi, racing full-time this year.
Sure, that's a big name.
It's intriguing.
Yeah.
He's from New Zealand.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to talk road courses.
Good golf courses in New Zealand, I've heard.
Great food. It was beautiful. I went there on my honeymoon last year. Yeah, I was there for a week. It was awesome. But yeah, so lots of driver interviews getting done, and then next week we got media day on Wednesday, qualifying that night, the duels Thursday night, and then of course we'll have your Road to Victory Lane Sunday before the race at noon on Fox 30.
All right, I like it. We got a lot of good stuff happening here this spring on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, and that includes Cup Date and also A Week with Us, which Liv puts that together, and
it's a good weekly wrap up kind of show that just goes over the big stories of the week and what we've been covering and puts it all right together in one nice half-hour package.
Yeah, so you see her sit down with Liam Cohen in that from this past week and other content that we covered in case you missed it. And by the way, another opportunity if you're not in town, like if you don't get to watch a lot of our stuff on TV, this is a good opportunity to see what we're doing, and obviously a lot of it Jags, but other things that you can watch on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. You don't have to be right here in the city limits of Jacksonville, Florida. ActionSportsJacks.com, the place to find it. All right, I think we got Austen Lane hanging out with us here today as well. I don't know what happened to Marty Lee. Maybe we'll get him in tomorrow or later. Who knows? He might be busy with signing day.
We'll tag out. I'll tag Austin in. I'm going to go get to work on our Super Bowl special, of course, Making of a Champion coming up later this week.
Sounds good.
We'll get you ready for the big game this weekend.
All right, that is Stuart Weber, Cup Date, 1 o'clock today. Check it out here on the network. And you tag in Austen Lane. We just got a whole lot tougher here on the show, that's for sure.
What? Come on. That's not right. It's accurate, but it's not right.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. We have I think mental toughness of Stuart Weber, obviously very high IQ, very high SAT score. And then we got more of just like the physical prowess of myself. I think if you put me and Stuart Weber together, we could probably take over the world.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like that too. Probably can.
Cerebral assassin.
Yeah. Kind of be like Baxter the Brain from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Stuart. You know what I'm saying? Like, just
there you go.
Get on my shoulder, man, and I'll do all the heavy lifting.
I like it.
That is a deep cut. I like it.
That is a deep cut. And maybe you guys can take over the world because obviously you and I have not. So I'm missing something.
Come on.
I don't know what it is, but I'm missing something.
Brent's writing the checks, man. You're obviously important too as well, Brent.
I need to write a check to the allergy doctor today, I think. What's happening down there in South Florida? You're cleaned up today.
Yeah, cleaned up. Today was a little more of an easier day. Wednesday is kind of more the recovery day. So we just had some grappling work with an emphasis on ground and pound today, Brent. So take somebody down, elbows, fists, 12 to 6 elbows, whatever you got to do to try to finish them. So that's what we incorporated today. It was about an hour and a half, and now I'm back talking with you. Brent, I want to ask you something, man. And this was kind of like the talk around the gym this morning. So I figured we could talk about it a little bit. We might have touched this topic a little bit. Who's America cheering for more, Philly or Kansas City?
I feel like it's Philly.
Okay.
I feel like it's Philly, and I know that's a hard thing to do. Like, I wrestle with it. I don't like anybody who's good. So, like, I have a problem with cheering for anybody who's good right now. But I feel a little bit better about the Jags, so now I can come around on it. Brighter days are ahead. I think I said this. I find myself rooting for Philly a little bit because of Saquon Barkley. I feel like I like him. You know, I feel like I've learned more about him this year. I really have a hard time not liking individually the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not a dynasty guy. I just am not. I didn't like when the Cowboys won. I didn't like when the Lakers used to win. I really didn't like when the Bulls used to win. I didn't like when the Patriots won. Like there are dynasty people, and then there are not. And I think a lot of people do like dynasties. I'm not one of them. Like, I really don't. I like new blood. I want to see new teams, new storylines. And this game does not offer that. We've got very similar storylines. The newest of storylines is Saquon Barkley. So for me personally, I think I'm rooting for the Eagles to win this, which is hard to say because I'm not a big Sirianni guy, not really a big Philly guy overall.
Yeah.
But I don't need to see history made. I know you're a big believer in that. I think more people are rooting for Philly right now, though. I think they're with me. I don't know if it's by a lot. What was the What was the sentiment down there?
So everyone was saying how, yeah, because, Kansas City, quote unquote, cheats or whatever, and they have the refs on their side. But like the biggest point was like Eagles fans are just kind of annoying. Like everyone kind of agreed, like if you go to Kansas City Chiefs game, like, yeah, they may kind of rag on you a little bit, but usually you're going to get some barbecue from them. Like they're going to welcome you. It's kind of like, in the Midwest. I mean, I feel like Green Bay is kind of the same way. So like in terms of a fan base, and I get it now, probably Kansas City is a little more annoying because they always do win. But I think the overall synopsis was like Philly fans are a lot more brutal. The city's a lot more brutal. And then obviously Sirianni too, I feel like isn't as liked as Andy Reid is. So it's an interesting scenario because a couple years ago, Brent, these were almost America's teams in terms of Kansas City was like the darling going against the Patriots. And the Eagles were kind of the darlings when they went against the Patriots way back in the day or whatever like that. Like they're both teams that were kind of the underdog that we all loved. And now it's almost like they've kind of changed the script, and it's like, I'm not sure if I really like this team. But I get what you're saying with Saquon, because Saquon is really hard to dislike, right? Like it's one thing if he's like, a cocky, arrogant, all about himself dude off the field, but he's not. And then you couple that with him doing things that you've never seen before on a football field. Like, how can you not like that guy?
Yeah, I think it's hard not to like him right now. I will say this though. I saw who's the owner? The Hunt family owns the Chiefs, but I forget the names of the first, like Clark Hunt. Is that the guy now in charge, or is he the older? I forget which one.
I believe it's Clark Hunt. Yeah.
But anyway, he was on one show this week on Radio Row, and I just saw a clip about it. And he was actually asked about this very question. Like, people have fatigue on the Chiefs for a variety of reasons. And you would think when you ask the owner of the Chiefs, you'd be like, you shouldn't have that. Or like, he had a very eloquent answer. It was it was an admittance kind of answer. Like, yeah, I get that. Like, people do. When you have teams that win, and he acknowledged the Patriots, you get to a point where people want to see somebody different. So we're kind of in that, and we understand that. Like, that's fine. He said, but what people do miss out on is also our fan base has grown exponentially because of the winning, right? So they actually have more fans on their side than ever before, because you got the kids that are wearing Mahomes jerseys. You got your bandwagon folks. That just happens. People criticize for that, but that's how fan bases grow. You got your Taylor Swift fans. Seriously. For sure.
Yeah.
Globally, he said that in most markets globally, they are the number one fan base. Here in the States, he said they've moved up to the number 2 fan base behind the Cowboys. Like, it's tough to trump the Cowboys. But I thought that part was very interesting. And also, it actually, once again, gave you more respect for their organization, the way he answered the question. He didn't dismiss the idea that, well, why wouldn't anybody root for us? No, he was very like, yeah, I get it. Like, that's what happens in sports. Like, I understand that, but we also are here. And listen, I think Mahomes is an easy guy to root for, quite frankly. I think Reid, you know him. You really love him and respect him.
Great guy, yeah.
Great guy to root for. I don't really think they have, let's just say when they had the Tyreek Hill stuff, did you want to root for Tyreek Hill, back in that time? Like, you could, they don't really have those guys. Kelsey I'm like over the Kelsey stuff too, but I get, like it's a lot.
It is, yeah.
But it's not like so bad. It's very Gronk-like, where Gronk was a lot after a while too. But there was also something fun about it, and it's hard to hate on it. So I really do think these, in many respects, even with Philly, they're 2 somewhat likable teams. And
yeah, I mean, I like Jalen Hurts too, Brent. Like, I think the guy's a hard worker. Yeah. Pretty humble and everything,
No reason not to like Jalen Hurts. I just don't. He doesn't really express much, so it's hard to get a good feel for him. He's so serious all the time. It's like you never see the dude smile.
Yeah, for sure. And I also appreciate with that Clark Hunt interview, because I'm sure he said, we have the second highest fan base globally or whatever like that. We're on the rise and everything. New fans every single day. Ain't gonna update the facilities though.
I knew that was coming.
Billions, but hey, the facilities stay the same. You guys have fun getting in front of those horse tubs. No whirlpools, no nothing. Facilities stay the same.
Yeah, and listen, Rip says villains in sports are completely normal. You got to have them. Like, you got to have them. You need villains, with no doubt. Like, there's no doubt. what I think we could question, are the Chiefs really a villain? But because what we're saying, there's a lot of likable pieces to that team. People have really latched onto this ref thing, so much so that I can't believe, like, the refs even coming out with a statement like this is idiocy that somebody would even suggest this. I guess they're protecting their own. Obviously, Goodell was asked about it, so he has to answer it. The Chiefs are being asked about it a lot, so it's a thing. I've got to be honest with you. Have I thought that they've gotten some calls here or there? Yes, because I think we're seeing it through that lens. And we're rooting against them at times because we want something different, so we'll only see it. I thought the Buffalo Bills got some calls in that game too, but we don't acknowledge when they get the call. I'm not a believer that the Chiefs are getting all these breaks from the officials. Do I think they get their breaks? Yeah, I do, and that's what happens when you win a lot. You've got to get lucky and get some breaks. The Patriots did that as well, maybe even more so than the Chiefs because of the Tuck rule and everything else to get this thing started for New England 20 years ago. But I believe that the better teams, the well-coached teams, usually get the benefit of calls because the other team's got to cheat a little bit to keep up. I really think that's where it comes from. When you're better coached, you're better fundamentally, you're better players, you've got to grab, you've got to do this, you've got to do that to be able to play sometimes in certain plays, in certain situations. And so I actually just chalk it up to that's why they're better. It comes across as these guys get all the breaks. I don't really think that's true.
It's just, without a doubt. It's just, it's wild kind of reflecting back on the past 5, 6, 7 years, Brent, of the NFL. And I remember, and I can't remember what the context was, but we had Stuart Weber on, and I remember Stuart Weber said this either on the old show or he said it one time on Action Sports Jax when he was headlining a show or whatever. But he quoted Batman, and he said, you either die the hero or you live long enough to become the villain. And I feel like that's the case now with the Kansas City Chiefs and also the Eagles, because back in 2017, when it was Doug Pederson and Nick Foles, the entire country rallied behind the Eagles to beat the Patriots. And back when it was still the whole Tom Brady era, the giant machine that is Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, the entire nation was rooting against them in the championship game with the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's wild how you take those moments and now you fast forward it to both championship games where I feel like the entire world was cheering for the Bills. And I also feel like the entire world was kind of cheering for the underdog and the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
And obviously neither of those came true. But it's wild how it can all change, Brent, with just a little success.
Yeah, I can't say I'm going into this game energized to watch and happy with whatever the outcome is. I'm going to go into this game, and at some point in the stretch of this game, I'm going to feel a certain way about which team I want to win, which is always goofy to me because I'm not going in thinking like I want somebody to win. Sometimes you do that, but not in this one. And I'm just like, I'll see by like halftime or the second quarter which way I want it to go. And then by the end of it, by the fourth quarter, if it's not going my way, I'll probably get a little pissed about it. Like, I think that's what's kind of fun about being so neutral sometimes, is that you actually, during the dance, you'll start to pick a side. And that happens sometimes with me. I think it happens like in recent World Series and other big events. That you're just like on the sideline watching, just want to watch good stuff. Hopefully it's a good game. Like, I can appreciate that. But I also know there's risk that we might not get a good game. I'm just wondering which side I'll end up kind of leaning toward during the course of the game. What would drive me to that point? Because I'm about as neutral as can be. Like, I'm okay with Kansas City winning again because of all the things we just said. I mean, there's a really good chance they do. And I'm okay with Philly winning if they do, even though Philly fans are nauseating at times. But it's going to be interesting to see which side, like, I kind of feel that way about this game during the course of it. And hopefully it's just a dang good game. I think that's what the beauty of it is, that when you sit on the sideline and you're kind of neutral, you just hope, man, it's a really good game that we talk about for a long time to come. And here's the other part of it. I hope it's won, not lost. Because when we talk about big games in sports, right, like most games are lost. Most games at every level are lost. Most fights, I would imagine, are even lost. In your world, right? Somebody makes a mistake and puts themselves in a spot. But when you really appreciate when games are won. And some of the Chiefs matchups over the years are when the Eagles and Doug Pederson won against Brady. You felt like that game was won. Brady had a chance even at the end. They had to make a play on a Hail Mary, and you're still like holding your breath, So I hope we get to that stage in this matchup, because I do think you have two really good football teams, that the game is won, not lost. And we're not talking about the refs on Monday.
No, without a doubt. And I also want to ask one more question, too. I mean, obviously, we got a couple more days to talk about the Super Bowl, Brent. But if Mahomes does win 3 in a row, with the help of Andy Reid, obviously, but if Mahomes wins 3 in a row, where do we put him then in terms of the GOAT conversation, and where do we put him in comparison to Brady? Because I enjoyed watching Brady. I get that he got annoying as well. But I always said, like, I appreciated Brady because I thought that we would never see it again in my lifetime. Like, I could tell my son, like, man, I remember, when I was in college and up in high school, like, dude, just Brady was doing things and winning in ways that we've never seen before. And I thought that was just going to be like the wrinkle in time where we had that moment and that's it. And now we're seeing Patrick Mahomes maybe even surpass that. So if Patrick Mahomes wins 3 in a row, Brent, where is he going to be on the Brady comparison, and where is he going to be in the GOAT conversation?
I love this conversation, and I think there are two levels of it. One is from winning, and two is from almost style and look and play. And let's do this. Take a timeout. We'll come talk about that on the other side. We also have some props. We're going to do next few days some props. There's a million of them, right? So let's have some fun with some of those from Super Bowl 59. You can watch it on Fox 30, of course. It's noon here on Action, the Sports Jax 24/7 Network. Brent and Austin Show. Got another hour to go here on National Signing Day. We'll take a timeout, and we will come back and talk more about this game and where does Mahomes fit in that landscape, because, well, this will be number 4. You get that Montana click. Is it better? Do you pass him? Do you equal him? Do you still have to catch Brady? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And by the way, the dude isn't even 30 years old in terms of Patrick Mahomes. Holy cow. We'll be right back.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter, First Coast, a call at 904-417-3557. Or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter, First Coast, on your team.
Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you, so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Bartram branch, the one I usually come to. And they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans. And I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org, so you can just be yourself.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jag Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, save 10% off a new Rinnai tankless water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Did you know what this was when I threw it up there? This is dogs in the Super Bowl.
Oh, is that what that is?
Just for Austin. I saved this specifically for Austin.
No, I appreciate it. Listen, I'm not hating on it. Tanvi, like I told you, Roseman, when he assembled the Georgia Avengers on that defensive line and that, the linebackers, it turned out pretty well for the Eagles.
Okay, so help me out. So we got, let's name it. We got Jalen Carter. We've got
Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Lewis Seen, Nakobe Dean, Nolan Smith, Keely Ringo, McCole Hardman, and
who's 94 back there?
That's Monty Rice.
Would never have got that. And Seen, I didn't realize that Seen
he got cut.
He got cut, so he's on the practice squad.
That's right.
So he fizzled, and Marcel was telling me where was he drafted again?
Vikings.
And he was no good. Was he a late first rounder or early second?
Yeah. Didn't do a whole lot.
Interesting. Not all those dogs are good, I guess.
Yeah, there's some of them, Brent.
All right, so
Hamby, but before we get into great quarterback conversations, want to mention anything about Kirk Cousins, Hamby? Are we good?
I didn't see him in the graphics, so I'm good.
Oh, I'm just saying he's been on Twitter a little bit trending, so I don't know if you had any thoughts about it.
Oh, no, that wasn't Monty Rice. That's Malik Herring. That's definitely Malik Herring, 94. Monty Rice didn't.
What is I saw Cousins said something about he might have had an injury during the year. Like, is that what he's trending about?
Yeah, he's kind of throwing the Falcons underneath the bus right now.
Oh, really? He is.
Yep.
I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, he's trying to get out of town, man.
Is that so what is he saying? That he played hurt? That he shouldn't have played hurt?
Something like that. How they didn't do a good job of I guess monitoring it, and he kind of felt like he was just by himself. I don't know, man. You have to listen to the interview. It just sounds honestly, Brent, it sounds like he's a little bitter of how things went, and now he's trying to save face and
show that he's still an elite quarterback and can go someplace else.
Yeah, there's got to be a little bit of that, right? I mean, he went there as a $90 million guy, couldn't even finish the season, got benched, never really played well. You could say early on he didn't play great because he was trying to adjust and all that, but he never fully got going. They disappointed overall, and he disappointed in the clutch. So, I mean, I guess I'm not surprised too much.
I hope the Titans or a team like that or the Colts don't take him.
It'll be interesting to see, like, how about I think the funny one about the Super Bowl, you see Jameis Winston is like,
bruh.
He's like he's like, I'd love to play for the Giants. I'd love to play for the Titans. It's like the guy's like begging to get on the team.
Brent, do you think he ever gets like a color commentary gig when he's done playing football?
Gosh. The people are going to be all over him. They're already, I mean, Fox hired him to do stuff this week.
Yeah, but they let go RG3, so I'm like, where does he fall in line? I mean, better than RG3, I guess?
Oh, I think he's way better. Okay. I mean, he's way, let's just say this, he's way more clickable than RG3. Like RG3, I don't think organically has some of the stuff that goes crazy on social or in today's world as Jameis. I think he had to build it. He had to almost like manufacture it.
Yeah.
I think he would say things a little outlandish because that's what they try to get you to do, is say a little bit that'll make people talk. And I think he had to do that. I don't think Jameis has to do that. I think Jameis just got to be Jameis, and it's just going to happen. Like, it's authentic. I think it's authentic, and it seems organic. That is a beautiful recipe, man, in this world. That I think he'll kill it. And now, what is the capacity, right? What is it in a color commentary role? I don't think so, because that's too serious of a gig. You can't be like that all the time. Yeah. Is it as like one of these pregame shows, right, where he's kind of doing what Fox has him doing right now? See, Fox is genius. They're putting him to good use in terms of just clickable kind of stuff, and then they're setting it up and they're helping him. I think I saw one today where it was like he was reacting to memes from the season.
I say you get him and Cam Newton have their own stream during games. Would feed families.
It would
feed generations.
It would. Yeah. Now listen,
sorry, Mannings.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. And it might get a little tiresome. I think that's what you got to worry about, right? Where's the fatigue factor on some of that? Like, even if you watch the Manning stuff, there's this balance between when they go into the comedic role and also really talking football role. And there's so much respect when they're talking football because they played at a very high level. Can you get that from the Jameses of the world as well? I think you could, but I'm just saying you have to balance.
I'm going to pop 5 Tylenol before the show starts, but I'll definitely check it out. But it's going to be a lot, I feel like.
Hamby Burner says, get him with the Amazon Thursday crew. I think he would elevate that crew like that, because I think that's the worst crew that is on TV.
If it's not even just do it,
I'm talking about the whole thing is not great, I think. But maybe other people like the Amazon one more than I do.
Is that like Brian Fitzpatrick and everybody?
Yeah, it's who is it? Is it it's Gonzalez on that one?
Gonzalez.
And Sherman.
Yeah. And then Andre Whitworth, I think, right?
Yeah, Whitworth actually I think isn't too bad. Like, listen, I'm not trying to be too critical. I don't like that one. Like, I think the whole thing is not good. I think from Al Michaels and Herb Street connection to the pregame stuff, like, I think it's like all wrong. But I don't know how like a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old feels about it. That's where that's the crowd they're going after, obviously, with streaming games and everything else. So they might be more into it than I am. That might be a little bit get off my lawn. I just don't like it. I think some people really hit on those combos and then others don't. I think they've really missed on that. I like to try. I get it. Fitzpatrick, Sherman. I mean, these are big names. I don't get the Gonzalez stuff. Like, Gonzalez, I never really think is that good. So just having a Hall of Famer, it doesn't matter. People don't care. Like, Tony Romo's not a Hall of Famer, but people loved Romo, right? I mean, so they don't really care. Jameis isn't going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's funny and he's good.
Correct.
So anyway, it's pretty it's subjective, but I get a feeling not everybody likes that whole Netflix or Amazon. I'm sorry, I keep saying Netflix. Amazon crew on Thursdays. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. Not everybody likes us either. Like, listen, I get it. That happens.
Dang, man, we have people hating on us.
No, I know. I'm just saying you don't have to. To each their own.
Okay.
Not everybody likes Patrick Mahomes, but he's damn good. And Coach Rip put in the Brady, Montana, Mahomes. Is that the order right now? Like, are we already there with Mahomes? And if Mahomes wins number 4, you asked the question, where do we put him in the landscape of Brady? I mean, he kind of missed Montana there first. Does he pass Montana if he wins a 4th? Does he inch closer to Brady? Do we start having that conversation? And I think there are 2 conversations to be had, but what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so how many does Montana have? Montana's
4.
got 4?
Yeah, so Brady had to get to 4. And because we lived this, all right? When Brady got to 4, it was like, okay, now you can start making the case. Who's better? Right? And a lot of people still said, yeah, but I still like Montana. I still like, you can have that debate. Well, then once he got to 5, and we were there, it was actually however many years ago today in Atlanta, 28-3. I'm not in Atlanta, but against Atlanta, 28-3, comes back and wins. And we were there with Action Sports Jacks at that Super Bowl when Brady won it. And it was like, I always thought that was significant and being at that Super Bowl because I was like, that's the day he became the GOAT. Like, he got number 5. We were already having the debate, and now he was actively the GOAT. And that's the way people are going to remember him until somebody eclipsed it. And then he goes and gets 2 more anyway, Austin.
It's wild because, okay, speaking from my own standpoint, I think if Patrick Mahomes does win 3 in a row, and then that'll make 4 for him.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah. I mean, he immediately, in my opinion, surpasses Montana. And then, he's starting to be in the Brady conversation just because he still is young. And it's just what it looks like, Brent, too. Right? It's like, when Brady was doing his thing, when I played against him, like, we obviously respected the hell out of him, but it wasn't like he's beating us with his legs. It wasn't like he was extending plays. No, the ball gets out in like 1.5 seconds, and it's very frustrating to play against, but he was the master of doing that. He was smart of, hey, I'm not taking a lot of damage. I'm going to get the ball out quickly and let my guys make plays. And I also think, like, if you look at Montana and who we played with, Montana had some pretty legit players, arguably the best wide receiver of all time, I feel like, with Jerry Rice. With Brady, Gronk, obviously one of the best tight ends of all time. Mahomes has Kelsey, one of the best tight ends of all time. But I find it interesting with those 2 guys where the wide receivers kept on shuffling and you didn't really miss a step, whether it was Amendola, whether it was Edelman, whether now for Mahomes, whether it's, Smith-Schuster, it seems like, or Valdez-Scantling you had. I mean, it doesn't really matter because these guys can elevate everybody around him, Brent. So I think if Mahomes wins this 3rd one, I think he immediately passes Montana, and now we're talking about quite possibly being in the GOAT conversation.
Yeah, I think you just hit on a lot of the points that I was going to say. I mean, and you're right. They went through that era in San Francisco where a lot of those guys stayed together, from Roger Craig to Rice and Taylor. And Bill Walsh, they were all part of it. And obviously the coach is always a common thread here, it seems like, with these quarterbacks. But I do think almost what it looks like matters. I don't think you win the debate, though, on it. Like, there's no way you could sit here and tell me that Mahomes is a better quarterback than Brady, and I believe it because some of the plays and the legs and the this and the that, and it's fun to watch and probably more fun than Brady. But he's still 3 away, and he did it in 2 franchises, and for one that like wasn't perennially good. It's not like he went to someplace else and just was the missing piece. No, I mean they did it in Tampa where they hadn't done it or only done it one time, and that was 20-something years ago. So I think Brady still takes the cake, but this was like. This part of the conversation to me is if you had a conversation of like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Karl Malone. Like Malone was really good.
Yeah.
And even if he had won titles, or I'll give you Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan, really good. How many titles did they win? Like how many titles? A bunch. So you could put it up against LeBron. You could put it up against Michael.
Yeah.
But come
on. The best power forward of all time.
Yeah, but come on, right? Like, it's not even close because stylistically, Brady's got a lot more Tim Duncan in him. And Mahomes is a lot more LeBron and Michael in him. You know what I mean? I think that's where it kind of it's interesting in our minds. Like, if Michael Jordan only won 4 and didn't three-peat twice, we would still say he's the greatest.
Yeah.
Because, oh, by the way, we say he's the greatest, and Bill Russell won 9 or 10. like we're not holding the trophy standard to the conversation. You know what I mean?
Listen, I remember playing against Tom Brady and that's the GOAT and everything. But I'm going to keep it 100 with you. When we played Mike Vick against the Eagles, I was almost more in awe of that than I was going against Brady, who at the time, was like winning Super Bowls and everything. But I was like, dang, that's Mike Vick right there. Like that guy changed the game, right? Like I agree with you. I think it has to do a little bit of what it looks like, and the feel for it, and like, once again, I'm not sure back in Brady's time how many kids were clamoring to buy Brady jerseys. Like, obviously kids in the East Coast, yeah, for sure, the Patriots fans, but like overall, I mean, was he the number one selling jersey? Maybe. But I feel like now with the youth, like, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is that guy just because of like dudes throwing behind the back passes and doing all these crazy things. And I also feel like a guy like Lamar Jackson, who's like one of my son's favorite players, is just because of what it looks like, what the highlights look like, right? Like in totality, yeah, Brady's got the craziest numbers you've ever seen, but they're just passes. It's almost like you almost need like a swag factor to it now to be in the conversation.
I say this all the time. Everything about Brady. He played until he's 44. He won 6 Super Bowls. He went to 9, which should be part of the conversation, by the way. And I can't sit here and think of, outside of the tuck rule, and obviously 3rd and 17 against the Jags, and maybe like the touchdown to go ahead against the Jags, a play that really just like sticks out in my mind. You know what I mean? Like I just can't, in my mind.
I can think of plays against him. I can think of
like the
Tyree
Giants
and the catch.
That's right, Manningham, but those plays. I can't think of a play like you do have a little bit of a mental Rolodex of Mahomes and the plays.
There's the Edelman catch, right, Brent? Wasn't there the Edelman catch? Was that against Atlanta? Edelman had a crazy catch to keep him going to win that game.
But that was freaking terrible.
But to your point,
but I can't like draw it up or anything.
Yeah, like we got in our head, we got Mahomes no look pass. We've got Mahomes dancing around and creating more space, and the ball's like still like just dangling. It's like, dude, hold on to the football. Nah, I mean, we even have that already with Josh Allen. You mentioned Mike Vick. So, Mike Vick, you have those kind of plays. That's kind of my whole point about the LeBron. I got stuff in my mind. Jordan, I got stuff in my mind. Tim Duncan, I got like that's all I got. Like
in the post backboard, baby, for 2.
I mean, there's something to that, right? There's something to that. I think in our psyche of, man, if we're going to celebrate greatness, shouldn't it come in that style as well? And I just think that's. But if you really want to get into the nuance of it, and you want to really get into the greatness, in a way that is the greatness of Brady. They went to 9 Super Bowls. They could have lost every single one of them. There were no blowouts. They could have won every single one of them. And when it's on the line and it's that dicey and it's that close, they won 6 out of 9 of them. And it seemed like their playoff games were that way. Like, it didn't seem like it was easy all the time. Yet he found a way to win all the time. I think that is part of the greatness. That's got a little bit of the Jeter Yankees to it, right? In that sense, where it's not always flashy, but it always seems to find a way. And I think that is some of the beauty of Brady and why he is the GOAT and continues to be the GOAT. I also think he just limits mistakes to that point, and that's not a celebrated thing. But because he limits mistakes so much, they were so successful. I do think Mahomes is getting to that point. Mahomes is getting to a point where he gives us the highlight play, but he also limits the mistakes so much that he's better than you. And even when they're not better than you, they make fewer mistakes than you. Like this game, Philly's better. You said it yesterday. But they might be the team that makes the fewer mistakes in the key moments when the light's the brightest, and that's why they win. This might be a different rendition of a Super Bowl for Mahomes, which I think then even offers you more evidence that he's a lot like Brady in a way.
Brent, for the sake of entertainment, just come with me here quick. So let's say like Patrick Mahomes, maybe he gets to 5, maybe gets to 6 Super Bowls. Obviously, we'll be in the GOAT conversation then, but story-wise, like what do we appreciate more? Do we appreciate what it looked like from Patrick Mahomes, like the wheels having to take off when he has to, the behind the back passes, the no look passes, the highlights? Or do we appreciate more of a guy like Tom Brady, who essentially came on the scene out of nowhere, a very late draft pick, kind of a rags to riches story? No one expected anything from him. You see the combine video. I think you were faster than him, Brent, if you're on a 40-yard dash. And he became the GOAT because of that. And you have Patrick Mahomes on the other side, who was kind of the front runner, right? Maybe we didn't know a lot about him in college, but he was still taken in the first round. The Kansas City Chiefs traded up to get him, so he was supposed to be the heir apparent. So then when it comes down to if it's comparable between Super Bowls and championships, what do we gravitate towards more? Do we gravitate towards that underdog story of Tom Brady, or is it what it looked like more from Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, honestly, I think the public gravitates, and this might surprise you that I think this way. I think they gravitate more toward the star guy. I actually do. I don't think they'll tell you that part of the story when they're bringing this debate up that, he was a 6th round pick. It's a good point. I think we think that story is always cute. We just don't always see that guy turn into the GOAT, which is literally Hoosiers and Rudy turned into the greatest of all time. It's that story morphs into the greatest of all time story. But I don't think we'll really give it that much credence in the grand scheme of things. And I actually do think people like the stars from the jump. I think that's a little bit of the allure with Mahomes. Has he done enough to be even entered into the conversation with Brady? Not really. He hasn't. He's still 4 Super Bowls away. How could he be? But he's on pace. He's 29. He's the star of the league. He's there every year. So he does have some of these metrics, but also I think people latch onto that part. I think we were still uncertain. I don't know, maybe 5 years into his career in New England, if Brady was really the guy or Belichick's the guy, or is Brady really that great? Because some of those Super Bowls, he didn't have to have it all on him. Yeah. We're actually seeing the opposite in Kansas City. The early stuff, the early success was a lot on Reed, Kelsey, Mahomes. I'm actually trying to argue, and not many people listen, but this is less about Mahomes now. This is more about the totality of their team, what they've built, a defense that keeps them in games and actually is the one that is the reason they're here the last couple of years. It's not because they're scoring 40 points a game, 35 points a game. Now, these guys still make critical plays, but it's not Mahomes dominating these games. That is not it. It was it. And I think we latch on to that. And now, once you set that tempo, you're like, it's always Mahomes. Mahomes is still the headliner here, even above Kelsey, Reed, and the defense. I think you can make the case the defense is the headline of the Kansas City Chiefs. I really do. We just don't think that way.
It should have been the same way with the Patriots. That defense won him a couple Super Bowls, but it was nothing but Brady as the headline.
No, but that's my point. It wasn't. Listen, I was there early on. I was there at the first one against the Rams, and that it wasn't the Brady story. It was a Brady story because it was the rags to riches part. Austin.
It might have not been the first Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, it probably took a little bit even longer than that. Now, by that time, I had moved on to Albany. I wasn't around as close, but I was still. I don't think I'd have to go back and look, or you'd have to feel that out. It wasn't always Brady, is my point. It was the defense early on. It morphed. Because that first one especially was the defense. Remember, they stopped the greatest show on turf. They were a huge underdog. They pressed the hell out of the receivers. They let them play in that game, and that was Belichick. Belichick was the love. Belichick was the genius. And, look at this cute story. We went with Brady in the 6th round pick, and that's pretty cool. And now are they going to go back to Bledsoe? Or it was always, are they going to go back to Bledsoe? So it didn't start the way the Mahomes one started, is my point, and then it got there. And then by 2005 or 6 or whatever else, now you're starting to add the ingredients in, and your offense is starting to cook, and he's got 5 years under his belt in the system, and he's starting to master it, and then it shifts over to Brady. And I don't know exactly when that was, but there was never a shift here, is my point, Austin. It was Reed and Mahomes, and it still is Reed and Mahomes, even though I think they are less the reason they win now than they were 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's fair. And I agree with Hamby here, because I remember, I forgot what Super Bowl it was or what year it was, but when they played the Rams, Brady was obviously established, but the Patriots defense won that game.
They did win that one. That was 13-3.
Yeah, and I forgot like what Brady's stats even were, but I'm like, oh, that's the defense all day. I'm not sure.
Not to interrupt you, but I just had a Facebook post on that, and I was at the game, right? And I put a post out at halftime, and I'm like, these two quarterbacks suck.
Yeah.
That was the post. It was like Goff and Brady are playing terrible. Like they really did. It was probably the only time he played bad in a half in all the Super Bowls, like really bad. But to your point, he actually did, and they won that with defense. It was 13-3.
And I don't think Mahomes has had one of those games yet, right?
Yeah.
Like even when the defense has had his back and Chris Jones gets home and everything, and you win. Like I still feel like Mahomes has those moments where it's like, yeah, he's probably the best quarterback in the league. Yep.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And I guess it's just, you're probably right about if you take the big games, like even this one, they end up, what did they score, 32 in an AFC Championship game or something? So it didn't feel like it was, it still felt to me like the defense won them the game because they stopped two-point conversions, they stopped the big 4th and 1. But then you're like, well, wait a minute, Brent, they just scored 32. They scored 32 points. They were only stopped on 3 out of 9 possessions. Like their offense did a hell of a job. I guess in the grand scheme of the last 2 years, though, I really feel like their defense has got them to this point because they hardly give up 20 points a game, and they've won all these one-score games. Which means your offense really isn't clicking. Your defense is keeping you in it so you get the chance to now win whatever they've won, 17, 18 one-score games in a row, which is an NFL record. Which, by the way, also should be part of Mahomes and Reed and this Chiefs legacy story. I mean, that's unbelievable. Did you see the odds on that recently? It was like, I wish I had the numbers. It was like 0.0. Somebody did the odds that you would win that many one-score games and go undefeated in the stretch. And it was like 0.003% or something. So like 1 in 4,475 chance. I think I saw that. Something crazy. That's how unusual this is right now. And that too should go on the mantle and on the cap of Reed and Mahomes and Kelsey and this dynasty that has been the Kansas City Chiefs up to this point. So it'll be, that conversation's not going anywhere else. I think the most amazing thing now that you have all these AFC championships in a row, they give themselves a chance to get here all the time. And he's not 30. I have no idea if he's going to play until he's 44, but if he does, he might win 12 at this rate. Because I'll be honest with you, I was a guy, I didn't believe Brady would get to 7. I thought at some point the thing would end for the Patriots. And I'm not talking about like 5 years ago. I'm talking about like 15 years ago. I thought, maybe when the Giants got him. And they went 18-0, and the Giants get him. I'm like, all right, well, now you're done. The league's going to catch somebody. It's going to change. It shifts. Shoot, it never did. I mean, it was unbelievable. I'm going to sit here and tell you I'm going to bet against it for Kansas City. I'll bet against it. I have. And you took them this year just because you're not going to bet against it, which is the better way to go, and which is why I don't bet.
Well, no, but I mean, to be fair though, like let's be honest, the smart.
I bet a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah, the smart money would have been Brent going against the Chiefs because listen, we all had preconceived notions of how this league works, right? Like eventually teams catch up. Eventually teams, the windows are open and they have their time in the sun. It happens. And for whatever reason, the Chiefs just won't give up the mantle. So like, yeah, did I pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl? Sure. But like, I get the other side of it because it's the preconceived notion of what Brady and the Patriots did. We're never going to see again. We're not supposed to see it ever again. And lo and behold, here we are, Kansas City Chiefs getting ready to try to make history.
When the Bulls were on their run, you knew they were good. Like they were really good. They were a different rendition for the first 3 years as they were the second 3 years. Even when I grew up as a Celtics fan, the Celtics were a really good run. They didn't three-peat, but they were on that good run with the Lakers. Those were really well-built teams. We didn't have free agency like we do now. Those teams stayed together. The Lakers run, right, when they had Kobe and Shaq, like they got players. The Patriots, I feel like for the most part, when they were on that run, you're like, well, it's not just Brady Belichick. They also got Teddy Bruschi, and they've got Ty Law, and they've got Lawyer Malloy, and they've got this guy, and then they add Randy Moss. Holy cow, they've got all these pieces. I think this team is a bit unique because for the last 2 years, we really have gone in and said, and I think it's fair to say, by the way, I don't think this is outlandish, when they match up with a lot of teams in the league, they don't look like the better team on paper. They just don't. I mean, there have been times where, like, the Eagles are better on paper than this team. The Bills, I think, in the last couple of years during their playoff mix-ups have been better. The Ravens, I feel like, were a better team last year at home in the AFC Championship game than the Chiefs. And they still find a way. I don't feel like we've said that about dynasties in the past. I don't feel like we go on 2-year runs where we try to measure them up on a paper and be like, hey, they're not the better team. Usually you say that dynasty team is like either right there or better. And I think that's what made this Kansas City team unique, what they're doing. And that's why also they have so many damn close games, because I don't think we're that wrong.
Brent, real quick, and this kind of changed the subject a little bit, but I'm very curious because you mentioned a couple dynasties and you grew up with a lot of them. Do you think, and like, I can't answer because I watched Michael Jordan do his thing through Bulls colored glasses, right? Like, I was the biggest MJ fan ever. Do you think the Bulls were the most liked dynasty or the most respected dynasty that people actually cheered for? Or am I wrong with that?
It's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know. I'm not a good guy to ask because I wasn't a Bulls fan at the time because I was such coming off the bird.
But maybe you're more of a casual. So, like, did you hate seeing Michael and the Bulls win all those championships?
I kind of did because, again, I was more. I was kind of like Celtics and a bit heavy Celtics and Bird, and you could kind of feel that it was turned like, wait a minute, we like when Bird and Magic and those guys are mentioned as some of the greatest players of all time. I don't want Michael coming in and taking that.
I don't want Michael Jordan coming in dunking everywhere, showing off.
Yeah, I didn't like
having that Larry Bird. Yeah, I got it. Okay.
And obviously, I didn't like the Yankees. I think they're certainly not in the case.
Yeah.
I think at some point it changed for the Patriots. I don't know exactly when. It feels like it always was like that. It wasn't. Because keep in mind, the Patriots were easy to root for. They didn't win for like 30-something years. Like, it's not like they were the Cowboys and then did this. And I think the Chiefs are very much like that. Chiefs were good at times, but not really good. So I kind of wonder if the Chiefs are, and maybe this is where you were going with it, maybe they are the most likable. Because here's the other reason why the Bulls weren't the most likable, man. Because Rodman's about as polarizing as you can get. Like, you might have loved Rodman, but half the world hated Rodman.
For sure.
And half the world appreciated him, right? So I would say I don't agree with that. I think I'd be right in saying that. I mean, these big brands. See, that's why Kansas City's not a big brand. It's not the Lakers. It's not even the Celtics, Red Sox, Yankees. It's not a Chicago. Well, Chicago doesn't have as much of that to me. But Kansas City, man, it's small market Kansas City. I just saw something like Kansas City is worth $2 billion less than the Philadelphia Eagles, despite all their success of the last 10 years. Like, that is not a big market. And they're the ones pulling this off. And like you say, they got a cool stadium from the outside looking in. It's a dump, really, on the inside and underneath. Their facilities aren't great, and they're still doing all this. So I wonder if they are the most likable dynasty of all time. And we don't give credit to the Spurs. They were a dynasty. There's nothing not to like about the Spurs, right?
True. Yeah, I'm Manu Ginobili a little bit for flopping all the time. See, I just think the Spurs, they were respected, but they were boring, Brent. Like, I don't think people
they were boring.
I think people wanted to watch them just get beat because it was a style of NBA that people weren't like akin to. You know, like, you can say the same thing. This is hockey talk, but like when the New Jersey Devils, I think it was back in '94, won the Stanley Cup. They kind of revolutionized a style of play that was more of just like puck control, not a lot of scoring, good defense, and like the NHL had to change the rules because of it. So I almost felt like the Spurs, it was more like you respected it because there's some great players, but man, was it boring to watch.
Yeah, but they didn't have a lot of haters to begin with, too, right? So you can appreciate it. You're not hating on it, even though it might be boring.
Especially going against like Kobe and the Lakers, where it was more like, you know, they're all flashy and people felt a certain type of way about Kobe too. So yeah, maybe the Spurs are up there.
But you're right about Spurs. Spurs are the most irrelevant dynasty of all time. I mean, you forget about them in the conversation because they were kind of boring. It definitely were that. All right, we got to take the break. We're getting late. We come back and we do some Super Bowl props. Want to do those next few days. Speaking of some betting, we'll get to some of those when we come back. Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Oh, look at these memories here.
Wow.
Nice hat, Brent. This was New York City.
It's terrible.
This was, so here's the deal. New York City one was better than I thought it was going to be. Pretty well done. Actually warm watching the game. It was like the first outdoor one that we've covered. And then on Monday when we're getting out of there, they got the snowstorm. Like hours after the Super Bowl, which they were afraid of, like getting snow during that Super Bowl. Hours later, it snowed.
Brent, do you still have the hat or not?
Yeah, I used to wear that hat a lot during the cold times.
Okay, tomorrow, 10 a.m., be in it or don't show up.
Yeah. I'd have to dig it up. And New York Super Bowl. Dave DeCandis, Stewart. Where? Look at Stewart. Clean shaven.
Baby-faced.
We'll be right back. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Krasanovich's under-23 men's team.
They sit in the dying moments.
Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue, as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season.
Then attention turned to the future, with MLS Next teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants.
We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter.
Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
He's going to keep popping up now. More Super Bowl memories. This was 2013 New Orleans. And we're just pups there. Look at that. So this was the Super Bowl that the lights went out. This was Niners and Ravens.
Flacco, yeah.
And the lights went out for a bit. And I'm going to tell you now, you're way up in the auxiliary seating. Well, first of all, you're usually way up in New Orleans anyway, even in the press box. But in the auxiliary seating, because they don't have room in the press box, you're in like a section. But we're way, way up, like in the nosebleeds. And that was like a scary moment. That was a legit scary moment because the lights go out and you're kind of wondering, okay, what's going on here? You know, and I had been to New Orleans when the first Brady Super Bowl, and the Patriots. That was in New Orleans too. So that was my first Super Bowl. I was working in Providence, and I was actually down on the field. I was the second camera, so I was like shooting that game. And what I remember about that game is that game had been pushed a week back because that was 9/11 football season. So the whole season got pushed back a little bit. And what I always remember about going to New Orleans is it was like 2 miles of security guys to get into that. I mean, it was amazing. It probably wasn't 2 miles, but it felt like it. It was so heavy security.
It'll probably be like that this time.
Yeah, probably because of the recent things. Mm-hmm. But then you fast forward, so in 2013, and the lights go out in the middle of like the game. And you think just all these things start coming in your mind, like, holy cow, right? What is going on here? And what are you going to do? You're like up in the nosebleeds on some set. It's not like you just go outside. You know what I mean? All these things start really racing through your head. And then obviously it all worked out fine.
Hamby, go ahead and bring up that picture again one more time, please. The last one from New Orleans. The law offices of Weber and Martineau. Divorced men only.
I'm gonna give you a real like inside business thing on this Super Bowl. So people don't know this, but the way we go live, people think about TV, and you're familiar with TV trucks and the big satellite trucks. Well, that's the way we've gone live in the business forever. We still can. That's really not the way a lot of us, like we don't ever use a truck to go live in sports. We have this little pack now. It's like literally like this big. It's called a Live View, and there are other companies. It's one of the most amazing things in the world. It takes cell signals, and like if you see me live from the back of my pickup truck, that's how we're doing it. It's just amazing. It's one of the greatest inventions of all time in our business. And nice commercial for Live View, by the way. But we had just got that in 2013 Super Bowl.
Give me the freaking fireworks. Come on.
Where are the fireworks today?
I don't know what happened.
It's not working. You shut it off. So
dang it. Okay, let's go ahead, Brent. Sorry.
That's all right. But the nerdy part of this is we go to the Super Bowl for that week. We drove out and we have this Live View for the first time. And it wasn't even as good as it is now. We did our shows or newscasts or other things. We did 26 different locations in New Orleans is where we did TV from that week.
That's pretty sweet.
I just remember the number 26 because usually you're just camped out in one place. So if you'd be on like this platform and the Superdome would be behind you the whole time. So the whole week it's just the Superdome behind you. Well, New Orleans had a ton of places. It might have been the river. It might have been where the Roman numerals are. It might have been the French Quarter. It might have all these different places. And this little pack that is like our lifeline now is where we kind of debuted that thing at the Super Bowl. 26 different live shots. So it was pretty wild. That's what I remember about that Super Bowl, of course, and the lights going out. San Francisco lost to the Baltimore Ravens, Harbaugh's only Super Bowl title. All right,
props.
What's that? Super Bowl prop? Well, before we do that, I do have to let everybody know about the Amelia coming up. And you got to check that out, AmeliaConcours.com. I want to say Concours, just so you know there's an S in there. That's where you get the tickets celebrating the 30th year. This is coming up in a month, March 6th to the 9th, so you have time to make plans. Big party up there on the island at Amelia, the Ritz-Carlton and the Golf Club of Amelia Island. So a great place to be. Awesome cars. Elio Castroneva is a part of the festivities as well. So just go to AmeliaConcours.com, ConCours.com. We will put that up, by the way, as well. Or just click right above Austin's head on that QR code, and it will send you right there without fireworks. The Amelia 30-year anniversary of the Concours d'Elegance coming up in Amelia Island. Look at that. Look at all the cool cars you can see and you can dream about if you head up there.
Wait. Anybody see that in the...
Is that a go-kart?
Anybody see that in the very back on the bottom left?
Oh, go Dogs.
See that eye? See that eye, man? Like, you can't make that up. You can't manufacture that. That's... I didn't see that until just now. I threw the picture up, and
I'm staring at a go-kart and some neon pants, and that's the last thing on my mind is seeing a Georgia... Oh, that's amazing, Andy.
That kid had some swag, by the way.
Yeah, man. The whole family did, really.
The whole family did. All right, what do we got? We got props?
We got some props. All right, here we go. Number one, I want to start with this one. Will any player or coach cry during the national anthem? It's even odds.
Well, it's even odds because Chris Jones cries all the time during that. Does that count, the Chris Jones stuff?
I would slam yes. Somebody's got to cry.
Slamming yes. I think Jalen Hurts could. I think Travis Kelce could.
Really? Kelce?
I just think, it's the third one. It means a lot. Taylor's watching ball. And also, dude, you know who my dark horse crier might be of the Super Bowl, Brent?
No, Sean Marino.
No,
Saquon
Sirianni.
Barkley.
No, I'm thinking Sirianni.
Oh, I think I've seen Sirianni cry before.
Like, I feel like the guy is like, yeah, he's got this machismo, but sometimes you got a little extra machismo. You can get a little emotional as well.
I want to see Big Dom just drop a couple tears.
I don't know if he counts.
No, he doesn't. He's not a coach. These odds are insane. If the Chiefs win, will Andy Reid be doused in barbecue sauce after the game? Anybody? Okay, first of all, what do you think?
First of all, Andy, real quick, do we know who's singing the national anthem? Because that makes a difference too.
Oh, we should know that. That's definitely out there.
I'll get it while you do that.
Okay,
go to the barbecue.
If it's like Fergie, like no, we're all laughing. But go ahead.
Will Andy Reid be doused in barbecue sauce after the game? You want to guess what the odds are on that?
I would say it's heavy.
Unless he's got, like, some kind of endorsement. Like I would say it's probably plus 1,200 that he's not.
A good guess.
Oh, I'm sorry, that he is.
Yeah, it's plus 1,600 that he is.
Okay.
I
guess Casey Masterpiece barbecue sauce or something?
I don't know.
Okay, whatever.
Drake's Super Bowl curse. What team will he be representing this year? Chiefs are minus 170. Eagles plus 130.
Does Drake have Philly connections at all?
I don't think Drake's going to say anything. I think Drake's trying to stay away from the Super Bowl with Kendrick Lamar performing, honestly. Dude just won 5 Grammys over a diss track. You mean Drake's going to put some money down on a Super Bowl when he's going to be highlighted at halftime? What are the odds of Drake keeping his mouth shut here?
I think he would take, I think you're right by that. I think he also would take Philly, but I'm not sure. Maybe he's taken the Chiefs in the past. John Baptiste is the national anthem.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're going to have some tears.
Cue up the waterworks, man. John Baptiste is super talented.
Damn.
All right.
How many players will have a passing attempt?
I was just hoping I said his name right.
No, do you know how I know John Baptiste? Because when Chandler Morgan interviewed me for the old morning show I did, and she asked me like who my sleeper is, I said John Baptiste. Dude won like 4 Grammys, so it's not a big deal. But go ahead, Hamby.
He's from Metairie, Louisiana, by the way, so it's a little bit of that.
Oh, and by the way, and I had a boss that got mad because they're like, well, John Bastiste's not really like a pop guy we should be mentioning on the station. I go, I don't care. He's the biggest sleeper, and that's what I said. And I was right. So get mad about it. Sorry, Hamby, go ahead.
All good. How many players will have a passing attempt in this game over 2.5? Over under, that's the line.
Over 2.5.
You know, I saw this one. This was a good one. I really was thinking about it because somewhere I saw somebody say you should really take this as a yes. You should take it. And I was like, yeah, I kind of agree. I think there'll be something tricky in here, right? Isn't that, it's almost, don't you get the sense now that people want to have the Philly special moment, Austin?
Yeah, without a doubt. And if I was going to put a guy who could be, I would say Xavier Worthy. I can see, like, because they like throwing those jet sweeps with him. Maybe they run the jet sweep and all of a sudden it's going to be a pass, right? Kind of add a wrinkle to what they've been showing in the playoffs a little bit. So I can definitely see this happening.
Joe Mixon had one.
Heaven forbid if the quarterback gets hurt or something as well.
Yeah, Joe Mixon had one. Jawan Jennings had one the last couple years. All right. Here's my number 5. Number of beers sold. The line is at 120,000. Caesars Superdome capacity is 76,000. So if every person has had 2 beers, they'll easily get the over.
How do you know this? This is one I don't like. Like the national anthem, you can kind of. Yeah, this seems like the fix could be in on the 120,000. Everything else or most things are right in front of you.
Yeah.
How do we know how many beers are being sold? Like I
will say this: I feel like Philly loves to drink.
Well, they do.
That's true.
I feel like Philly fans could.
I wonder this, guys. Like, I wonder if beer sales go down at Super Bowls because you're like, dang, I paid a lot of money for this. I'm going to enjoy it and not get hammered.
Seltzers as well, Brent. Remember seltzers are big right now with the kids.
They are true. Does that count or does it have to be beer? Or is it drinks, Amby? Do we know?
Just beer.
I would take the under all day.
I'll take the under then. You got mixers, you got seltzers. Yep.
Yeah. Who will the Super Bowl MVP of the game thank first? Teammates 3-2, coach 12-1, family 12-1, God 3-1, owner 12-1. Does not thank anyone 5-2.
5-2 odds. I like that one.
You got to slam the good Lord on this one. Especially if it's Patrick Mahomes, he's going there immediately.
Or Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Oh yeah, that's easy money.
That's
now,
easy.
if Travis Kelce somehow has the game of his life, then maybe it's Taylor Swift. But besides that, I'm going with G-O-double-D.
Okay.
Figure it out. You got it.
Will a kicker hit the upright or crossbar on a missed field goal or extra point? Yes is plus 300. No minus 500.
I would definitely take no. Crossbar, not the post. Crossbar.
Either.
Both.
Upright or crossbar.
I'd still say no. But I wouldn't take minus 500.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's any allegations with any of the kickers going around like there was with Justin Tucker that could maybe mess him up a little bit. I would say probably not.
How many times will the chains be used for a measurement? The line's at 1.5. It's even odds. Especially if the Chiefs. You remember that spot they had against Josh Allen?
Plus we got the tush push B.
A good one.
What do you got, Brent? Yeah, I don't know.
You know, I want to say yes right away. Like, I kind of like it right away, but then I'm starting to think more. It's like, yeah, maybe you don't get it as much as you think, you know? And I wonder if replay assist has helped or hurt the measurements.
It's had to have helped it.
Oh, it helped it?
Do you think helped? I think helped.
You think you get more measurements because of replay assist?
No. You get the refs are helped. Yeah.
Okay. You guys are on the same page. You just kind of said it different, interpreted it different. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I would probably go against this one.
What are the odds here, Hamby, again?
Even.
Yeah, I'm saying no.
All right, we got 2 more as we wrap it up. What color will the Gatorade be that's dumped? That's a classic. We got to include that. Purple is the leading favorite this year at plus 210. Followed by yellow/lime green at plus 450, orange plus 500, and blue 600, clear 1,000.
I think I think it's because of the Mardi Gras in New Orleans. Is that why they're daying purple?
Makes sense.
I would say, I mean, if you think Kansas City's going to win, go with what they had last year. Because sometimes teams can be superstitious a little bit and want to kind of like reinvent it. So I would say whatever Kansas City had last year, if you think they're going to win, go with that. And Philly, I have no idea.
That's a good way of thinking, yeah.
All right, this is there was only one option for this to wrap things up. How many times will Taylor Swift be shown throughout the game? The over under Throughout the game, it says.
Okay.
Over-under is set at 5.5.
Over all day.
I think it's got to be over.
Over,
especially if you think the Chiefs are going to win. By the fourth quarter, they'll be showing her every 10 seconds.
Maybe Travis Kelce proposes to her. Yeah, who knows?
All right. Hey, that's going to do it here for Monday. One thing, we'll do more props, but I do wonder, do you bet a lot of props or do you just go all in on one if you had a little pool of money? Think about it.
I'm going a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, just for fun. Get some action. All right, have a good day, man. We'll do it again tomorrow. We're going to be live at UNF tomorrow at 10 to 1 here in the Brent Austin Show.